3, 2.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Game of Thrones Book Club. Sorry we're running 15 minutes late. It's alright. We're here now. I'm James.
I'm James.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Joel.
And today we're discussing the end of the Clash of Kings from Tyrion 14 to Bran 7, aka the end, about 120 pages. That's not my girlfriend.
Nope.
What?
Nope. Chelsea and I both did a Drunk Disney last night. I hope
All
you were
of
there
us
at the
did
live
it.
stream.
You just drank in it.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I was not here.
Well, we
That's true.
did
Caitlin
it.
didn't
You
do
were
it.
there, but we did the Drunk Disney. Well, the drunk part, you guys weren't drinking. All right? I'm not belittling your hard work. We wouldn't have a show without you guys. You know that, and I know that, and they know that, hopefully, or they do now. In any case, it hit her a little harder than it hit me. I'm not feeling great, but I want to finish this damn book. She's back there sleeping.
I
hope
love
she feels better.
talking about books, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, also Caitlin has been jumping down our throats trying to
That's
get back on this damn
Literally
show.
true. Every day I see them, I ask to be on book club.
So, deal with it.
I'm part of it.
She's part of it now. Okay. Any
let's,
administrative stuff to
I don't think
take
so.
care
I
of?
think we should. We're
no sigils
no
for
sigils.
this week.
If
AKA
you-
get on that.
Yeah, if you
We
want to
appreciate
draw
all
a
of you.
sigil that we'll show here on Book Club, send it to practicalfolks@gmail.com, and we will feature it next Book Club, which is not next week. Let's say it up top. We'll say it
Yeah.
at the end too, but let's say it up top. Next week we are taking a week off for President's Weekend / which is a bummer now, but
Yeah.
and well, former presidents, and Chelsea and James are going to con, right?
Yep, and we'd like to take a week off between books just
Between
to
books,
give
so-
a little resting period, and we're about to be between a book.
Before we dive into Storm, we will have next week off, so we'll say it again at the end. But if you're planning next week, don't plan around Book Club.
I hope at least some people out there plan their
weeks around
weekend. Book club.
We have to.
We did see, I don't remember the user, we did see someone who marked on their calendar, book club, power hour.
Power
Power
Hour comes
Hour.
out this Wednesday.
You guys
Also,
get hyped because
Oh, yeah,
Someone's,
she's in it.
someone's
I'm in
on
it.
it. Oh, is it you?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's, I
First
knew
one.
you from somewhere.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
if
that
you're-
Sansa from the internet.
If you're a Patreon subscriber, and in fact, if you sign up today, if you haven't been,
Sure.
for what?
I think it's
five
five
or
or
more.
above.
It can be as little as 5.
Sure,
You'll
we'll
have
say it's
access,
5 since
early
we haven't
access
done it
to
in a
it
while.
tomorrow. We'll post that power. Maybe even tonight. Who knows? Just
It's
done.
it's
Very
good.
funny.
The first episode's
So-
done. It's ready to
Very
go.
funny.
So,
Cool, guys. I'm having
it's
some
TBS,
intense
guys.
deja vu right now. This
Oh,
whole
no.
moment. It's cool.
the hat too.
The hat, you saying Sansa stuff, you saying Power Hour.
I don't think I was
Nice,
here
cool
last time
guys.
Caitlin was here.
No, I think I was you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
You
Where are
on
we
your
starting?
honeymoon.
I was.
That's how long it's been since I've
It's
been on
been a
book club.
bit. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
divorced now. I'm not. That's not true.
It's not true.
I'm very, very happy.
Hopefully she's not watching.
We're on Tyrion 14, right? That's
Correct.
That's the
our
one.
start on page 852 in the mass market U.S. paperback.
No, look at her.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah, I watch these.
On it.
Okay. In this chapter, I don't think I wrote my little character or my chapter summaries.
Oh.
Which one is this?
Battle
Well, this
of
is the
Blackwater.
battle-
This is the
fever.
end of. Yeah, this is Tyrion. Mandon Moore attacks Tyrion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
he is-
Tyrion leads the fight into the breach, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or to prevent a breach, I suppose. Yeah. So,
So I kind of wondered whether we had the last time we saw the Hound when he was saying, "Bugger the hand, I'm out of here." I wondered whether, oh, it wasn't last time, but it made me think this chapter of when he was talking to Sansa about how much he loved killing, and how Tyrion in this chapter is barking with laughter. Whether this is what the Hound meant.
I think so. The like battle drunk or whatever that.
Yeah, 855.
855.
Battle
Yeah,
fever.
battle fever. That I really like that passage because it made, especially when Tyrion shouts Lannister, he shouted slang. Like that really made me think of like, and then George follows it right up with what I thought. Tyrion is feeling the most he'll ever feel like Jaime. And that's something that, is so important to Tyrion. his perception of Jaime as like the perfect, masculine ideal, valued by his father and everything, and so much so for his prowess in killing. And here Tyrion kills like 30 people. Like
He's surprisingly good
Yeah.
in battle.
yeah,
That's what happens when you don't look down.
yeah.
There's also the line, you stop being you. There's only the fight, the foe, this man, the next. And then that makes me wonder if Sandor really enjoys fighting and killing because, I think we can say he doesn't really like who he is or who he is forced to be.
Sure.
So in the fight, you stop being you. And he doesn't have to live with being Sandor Clegane. He can just be the hound, the killing thing, the thing that he's good at.
I wonder if the same sense of the high that Tyrion gets here, that if that can be replicated in solitary murders, because if you're not in the midst of a battle where everything is life and death, high stakes, if you're just killing butcher's boys or anyone else, like people less powerful than you, if he gets the same feeling from that, or whether that is like a solitary murder where there's no danger to you, if that actually hurts him.
There's definitely a different environment and a different feeling when you're in a war type like combat scenario with people all around you, because you guys know that I do medieval reenactment, so I know what it's like to be out there with like 100 guys in armor like charging, and it's completely different than like a tourney experience where it's one-on-one. I don't fight tourneys, I don't fight one-on-one combat because I don't get the same sort of adrenaline rush that I do when I'm out there with like my 10 other spears.
Caitlin only kills in groups.
Damn.
But no, that makes sense to me. It's also the sense of a danger to yourself, which would have, I think, a biological effect on you as far as adrenaline and everything goes.
Yeah.
It's different when your instincts take over, when you know that a wrong move will kill you, as opposed to something like Gregor's killings. I don't know if that's what you were thinking about, but like as far as killing people lesser than you, just murdering as opposed to battle, it wouldn't be the same kind of instincts taking over, I imagine. I don't know.
I mean, for someone like Gregor, or even to a lesser extent Sandor, probably they do get some degree of that high, even in like single killings, because that's just what they've been doing for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's remarkably different from like a combat melee on the field situation.
I was gonna bring up the chemical component, James, that you brought up too. The like adrenaline and the rush of it in your brain, and what that might do to somebody like Sandor. Ooh, Gregor's got a whole other set of brain issues. I think that's a great observation. That's really interesting. So.
Thanks. I just came up with it right now in between texting out the link. So.
I want to point out on 853 the phrase "kissed by fire," which I thought was interesting. That I think it shows up here before it shows up in connection with
Being a redhead?
Egret. Yeah.
What about redheads?
You're kissed by fire, Caitlin.
Thanks, James. Where is that?
That's on 853 right here. The sharp blades kissed by fire.
Nice.
Also, part of the thing that's got to be influencing Tyrion and how he feels here is, I mean, Cersei said that he always wants to be loved. And on page 854, you have people shouting his name, Half-Man. That's got to feel good for him. Especially as we've seen this whole book, how offended he is that the townspeople they don't like him and think he's the worst of them all. To finally hear people cheering for him and giving him the praise that he's always imagined he deserves. Which, truthfully, he does.
Yeah.
It's got to feel nice. Yeah, please let us know any technical issues. I don't know what Joel's...
I want to pan it up because my hair was getting cut off.
Okay.
Well, you got to tilt the tripod,
like
other side.
Be very careful. Be very careful.
No, don't do that.
Wait, what? Oh, this?
Yeah.
But you gotta
loosen
the thing on the other side.
This seems less and less work.
Have you used a tripod before? No.
That's a complicated tripod.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that.
All right.
That's too much.
Oh god.
That's fine.
What have I done?
Here. Oh, that's way too much.
Is it here? Is it good? There, good. There.
You're not sitting down, so we have no idea. I think that's fine.
All right, I'm sure it's fine. Okay. I thought I could make an easy adjustment, and I didn't.
Nope.
Those are brave men. Let's go kill them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was about to say that.
Yep,
There's that line.
it's here. To Sir Balin Swan.
Yeah. Where's Clarence?
Balin Swan seems like he seems pretty legit.
Balin Swan. Yeah, he's one of those
Yeah.
characters who the first time I read through, never really registered with me. He's just a knight. But with this read through, where I'm really focusing more on the individual characteristics of these minor characters, I'm like, oh hey,
Yeah.
Balin Swan's pretty
Can
dope.
we just talk about this visual that Tyrion sees right before that?
The bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrion saw one great fool of a knight trying to ride across, urging a terrified horse over gunwales and oars across tilting decks slick with blood and crackling with green fire. We made them a bloody bridge, he thought. But I'm just picturing, think about a knight clad in his armor, atop his horse, who's probably also armored, jumping from, bit of ship to bit of ship,
Yeah.
slipping on blood. Probably there's dead bodies under him. That's an
Yeah.
insane visual.
Yeah, this whole I totally forgot, and I feel really bad because I think it was last week with the first half of Blackwater. I was like, a show I think does Blackwater better. It doesn't.
No.
This is I forgot
You
how
did say that.
The
good.
battle itself
this was.
is one of those things where it's just like, oh, the early seasons didn't have the budget to make it as awesome. Maybe if Blackwater had happened in season 6, they would have had the budget to do all
Something
this.
like a Battle of the Bastards kind of thing.
Yeah, which obviously had the money behind it. But
Sure.
the bridge of burning ships, the chain, it's
Well-
missing and it's
Well, I
sad.
think this is one of those images, this image that you pointed out, Caitlin, if you see this cinematically or you picture it in your mind's eye, it's horrifying. It's like a real haunting image.
And it's not, he sees one knight, but it's not just that one knight who's doing this. There's gonna be a
Oh yeah, it's
Oh
a
yeah,
stream of them.
for sure. I really, it kind of along those same lines on the previous page, and again talking about Sir Balon, when he raises his mace to point down river, bits of brain and bone clung to its head. That's real gross.
And then you even have a naked man falling from the sky and landing on the deck.
That's one of the
Joffrey.
antler men. Yeah,
Yep, that's
Yeah.
Joffrey
Thanks,
sending.
Joff.
Thanks.
yeah,
Joff,
I
way
noticed
to
that too.
That's
Add
one
your
of,
own special flair to this hellscape.
that's one of the things I appreciated, the small details about this chapter, because I don't know, unlike the show, I like that George could hone in on the way thoughts can cut through that battle fever in really small ways. Like Tyrion is just taking moments here and there, thoughts will just float into his head as he's in the midst of it, oh, Shagga would laugh at this. There's a naked man. Later on, when he's about to receive Mandon Moore's death blow, he notices, the stars are pretty nice out there tonight.
Yeah.
So I there are instances of that throughout. He'll just notice Fox, Florence, in the middle of that, and I like that just how George creates that haze of chaos all around.
The thing that I really like in this chapter, from a writing perspective, from a George perspective, is this kind of this sense that he creates of Pod as an unseen guardian, and it starts right at the beginning of the
Yeah, 'cause he
chapter.
loses him right away, right?
I don't think he ever does. Tyrion loses track of him. I don't think Pod ever loses Tyrion.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Oh,
So
what a good squire.
yeah, right. So this is on the very first page of this chapter, 852. On the left, Tyrion was surprised to see Podrick Payne, a sword in his hand. "You're too young. Go back. I'm your squire, my lord." Pod being awesome. And then on 856 at the top, a knight rose up from nowhere to hack at his shield with the two-handed greatsword again and again until someone thrust a dagger under his arm. One of Tyrion's men, perhaps, he never saw. That was definitely Pod.
good
Pod
call.
is out there
Yeah,
keeping
who else is looking
Tyrion
out for
alive.
Tyrion like that?
Yeah.
And I think something that I don't think really gets discussed much, or I haven't seen much of a discussion. So Ilan Payne is the king's justice, and presumably was before he insulted Aerys, right? Who had his tongue out? I assume it wasn't Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was presumably a
Aerys.
pretty skilled knight. Pod's a Payne. There might be some kind of martial prowess, and he could have.
Oh yeah. I think
know.
that comes through.
So, and I think that he's pretty, obviously he kills Mandon Moore here at the end and saves Tyrion, but throughout this chapter, all these little bits of Tyrion narrowly escaping death, I think are Pod.
Yeah, that
Isn't
makes sense.
there a moment, and I want to say it's before the battle where Tyrion takes his mountain clans out with Tywin, where Tyrion thinks about like who's gonna look after me in battle.
Yeah.
And you bringing up Pod being the one to sort of shadow him. That's a great like thoroughfare from that battle where Tyrion only had his mountain clans and didn't have a squire to now there is somebody there looking out for
Yeah,
him.
totally.
Cares about him.
And someone more than a sellsword, because he's been protected through this whole time by sellswords or the mountain clans
Yeah.
who are only being paid, and it's just out of love
Yeah.
and loyalty.
Real loyalty.
Like, Bran would not do
Oh,
this book,
man.
Bran would not.
yeah.
That just reminds me of the next Tyrion chapter we get, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
Speaking of future chapters, should we move on to Sansa 7?
Sure.
hang on, I got-
Oh, you got something else?
Yeah.
Every
Oh,
time.
we should talk about like the end too.
Well, you're just jumping the gun always. What would you say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that I like the attention paid to the contrast between Mandon Moore and Balin Swan. Like they're both always described as white shadows a couple of times.
Yeah.
And the white of Balin Swan gets bloodied very quickly. But there's something in Mandon Moore being still pretty much white, but having these passionless dead eyes. They get mentioned several times, except for 860 when Mandon goes to, kill Tyrion, and they are at that point shining darkly.
Oh, yeah, they're no longer dead. They have life to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's about to kill Tyrion. I guess he's pumped about that.
Have you guys ever talked to somebody with like dead shark eyes? With like just like those kind of
Yeah,
like
I'm
really
doing it right
deep.
now.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, you.
Kidding, his eyes
No,
are beautiful.
they are. They're gorgeous. Do you know what I'm talking about though?
No.
Like
Yes.
just like eyes that are like looking through you, but are looking through you in a way that like there's nothing
Are,
life
you, are you
there.
thinking of someone like a
Yes,
boss or
I
something?
am. The former head coach of the Red Wings, Mike Babcock, had dead shark eyes.
Oh, I have.
And
heard
every
you
time I
mention these.
interviewed him, it was just like it was hard to not like cow away from him because he had such an
I bet
intense
Tywin
look.
has eyes like that.
Yeah, right. Like just like so
Is
intense.
it boring to you?
I want to say I really love the descriptive imagery in this chapter.
Yeah,
This
totally.
I think by the time we get to Battle of Blackwater, the book really picks up, and the prose is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say that lightly because I don't necessarily love George's prose, but the Blackwater descriptions are incredible.
I think there's been a real turning point in the writing in these last couple weeks' readings. I've noticed too, like when Jon gets up that far north of the wall, and when the battle, like when Blackwater starts, like that's a real turning point for me. And obviously, like I assume, if I remember correctly, Storm is hitting on all cylinders.
Yes, Storm is great. I really like Storm.
I really love Clash, though. I'm excited for Storm.
I mean,
I've been
Clash
loving
is
Clash,
really
yeah.
good, but like it's picked up to such a new level.
And then I like this at the end
Yeah.
of this chapter when Tyrion just like croaks Jaime and says, "Who else would save him if not his brother?" And I just want to keep that in mind.
This is secret Targ stuff.
No,
Oh.
no, this is
No, this is Caitlyn, not
hi.
Chelsea.
No, this is post Purple Wedding.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who else would save him? Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
which like is a show like it happens in the show, but it's I think more powerful when it happens in the book.
I really love this moment with Pod. Like, this is the last thing I'll say about this, but like, and going back to my earlier point of him just being constantly there for Tyrion, Pod kills a Kingsguard,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yikes.
But to be fair, so did like a rowdy crowd earlier in this book.
yeah, but that was, which one was that?
Preston Greenfield.
Preston Greenfield. Yeah, whatever. He didn't have dead shark eyes.
Let's go to
What? Wait.
no.
Yeah,
Yes.
something?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I had one more thing on the idea of George replicating the relatable phenomenon of, battle fever. I like that when Tyrion notices that Mandon Moore is reaching for him, before his brain can articulate what's wrong, instinctually his mind is feeling that something is off. And I think George does a good job of that a couple of times where the mind is not able to interpret something more complex beyond just immediate survival needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you've been in like a close call in a car, or like I don't know, I guess a real fight, or sports, like that's weird when that stuff happens. Like, have you guys ever like swerved without really knowing it or something? Like,
Yeah, like
Yes.
yeah,
you'll think later, like, oh, it's good that I did that. I have no perception of why.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. On to
Moving on to my love, my life,
Sansa
my
7,
Sansa.
where she's still in Magar's holdfast, right? And she's hanging out. And this is when Cersei pieces out, and she does her best to calm the ladies before. Oh yeah, and Lancel
Yeah.
keeps checking in and wanting to get Joffrey out there and help fight, but Cersei's not having it. And then finally, who comes in and lets them know?
One of
was
the
it a
Kettle Blacks?
Oh, freaking
Yeah.
Kettle Blacks.
I was freed.
I'm gonna let
That's
Caitlin
right.
take it away while I bring donuts to my ailing lady.
Aw, so sad.
Oh.
This chapter is so good because James didn't finish his summary, but then
Oh God, yeah.
we get some nice Sansa in action when Sansa goes back to her room and the Hound is there,
Oh,
super drunk. Thanks, James.
call. That's pretty important.
And also Dantos, then she meets later on and
Oh,
says, hey,
yeah.
the battle's over.
Dantos.
Yeah, no, this is incredible. We start with Cersei just not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't care.
Her
Lance was like, your brother's probably dead, and she's like, whatever.
No, she definitely doesn't care about Tyrion.
Her fatalism is strong, but I appreciate that her concern for her children is still outpacing that negative attitude. And it's outpacing her desire to kill everyone else, as she threatened she would do to Sansa. Because she just forgets about Sansa and goes to take care of Joffrey.
I like the choice of language where it's not where's the king, he's the king. Cersei insisting on he is first and foremost, he is my son.
Yeah.
Like she is not acting as queen, she's acting as a mother first, and like I think is frustrated that she can't, like, no one else has that kind of understanding. You
Yeah,
know?
no one else is going to have that regard for him because
No.
he's universally hated.
He's right. He's universally hated, and people see the duty of his office.
Yes.
Where Cersei doesn't care about that.
I really like Sansa's internal monologue throughout this whole chapter, and
It's a lot of good stuff.
you know, she's like, Joffrey's lost his head, and so have I.
Mm-hmm.
She can't escape Sir Ilyn Payne.
Mm-hmm. I love the continuing kind of
so
like
good.
yeah, like that's the worst thing imaginable for her. Like to be killed, to be beheaded that way.
Yeah.
Like because of the trauma from Ned, I feel like that is, there's nothing worse for her than that.
At
Like,
this point, does Ilyn still have ice?
Yes.
So, like, not only would
Right.
she be beheaded like her father, but like by her family's ancestral sword.
The sword,
I
yeah,
forgot
and the same
word.
way as
Sword.
Lady in the books. In the books, Ned kills Lady with ice.
My poor lady. She talks about Lady.
She does talk
later,
about
and
Lady.
it just.
I know that part
On page 865.
really gets me too.
I think she's already back in her bedchambers now, and she just whimpers Lady, wondering if she would meet her wolf again when she was dead. And just Sansa losing Lady makes me so sad, particularly because we get so much of the other Stark kids and their connections with their wolves, and I always wonder what would it have been if Lady had not been killed.
What kind of wolf would Lady have been, and what would it have
we
done
know,
to
I mean,
Sansa?
we know what kind of wolf Lady
Well,
would have
sure.
been, but like what, yeah, if Sansa had Lady, how different would her experience be?
Would her confidence be different? Would she
Yeah.
conduct herself differently? I agree. I think that a lot of the things that people criticize Sansa for in the early few books, I think unjustifiably,
Yeah.
stems from her losing her wolf. Like
Yeah.
like that. Her character changes after that. I think when you look closely, and we noticed, I think, on this read through game and into now. I love that moment where she brings up Lady and she says she wonders if she would see her when she was dead. That's a great little moment, and it's just such like, I don't know. It's so real.
I really like, let's jump back to 863, when Cersei's like pieced out and everybody is horrified, and they just look to Sansa and she says, Joffrey's come back to the castle, he's not hurt, they're still fighting, they're fighting bravely, the queen's coming back. The last was a lie, but she had to soothe them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like Sansa knowing how to act as a highborn lady. And
Yep.
it makes me think of that line, when I'm queen, I'll make them love me.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knows how to behave to result in like the people's affection. That soothes them
Sure.
in a way that I don't think anybody else could do. Like, she's lying, but she knows what to say.
Yeah, and we were talking, in the previous chapter with Tyrion about those kind of instinctual actions that you do without realizing it. And, in the second full paragraph of 863, she never knew why she got to her feet, but she did. And that's where she goes into that speech you just mentioned. And that's something I think that Sansa does instinctually, knowing that this is something that needs to be done in order for her to preserve herself.
Yeah.
This is what Brienne would call a woman's strength.
Yes.
And I also appreciate that what she does carries through to helping Lancel, and even as she's doing it, remembering her courtesies, what a decent human being would do. She's remembering that she should be acting more out of self-interest and not helping her enemy. But I think it's a testament that she still wants to help someone who has some good in them. She has empathy for her enemies, even when they are her enemies.
Yeah, I love that she's like, I should be killing Lancel, not helping him. I am, stupid, like Joffrey said. But we're all like, no, this is the right thing to do.
I think it just shows the effect of having people around her telling her that she is powerless and stupid all of the time.
Yeah.
But she's really showing an intelligence with things. Like when she talks about, if she, like when she thinks about if she should go to Sir Dantos to defend her, she's aware enough to know he's terrible at everything, and he would die.
He's great. If you want slobbery kisses, he is the go-to guy.
I think they did a great job casting like a jowly guy
Yeah.
on the show for Sir Dantos.
I hate him so much at the end of this chapter.
Oh yeah,
Just, to be a knight.
yeah.
That's just, it's so
Yeah.
deft to the random death and chaos
Dude,
of
It's
the
especially coming
battle.
after
you
the
were a
Tyrion
knight, and you
chapter.
headed
Yeah.
it all up. He
But-
was a knight, man.
It's like, if only I were out there on that burning ship bridge.
But I love that in this chapter said to Sansa, because we're talking about Sansa who had previously lived her life, striving for it to be a song, and now you have this fake embodiment of one of those songs who's romanticizing this
yeah.
horrific experience that we just as readers just read about, and Sansa is now having more of an awareness of. I think, like when she talks on 864 about the air smelling burnt, like a soup kettle smell if it were left on the fire too long and all the soup boiled away. You guys know that smell? That smell sucks.
Yeah, that's a horrible smell.
Yeah. And
What she
It's
sees.
the same smell you get when you boil water on a pot.
on a
your
kettle,
stove,
yeah, and
then
it boils
you
off.
Don't pay attention, so all the water boiled off, and then your kitchen smells like it's burning for like an hour.
Mhm.
Who would do that?
That's happened here.
I love that paragraph at the beginning of it when she opens her drapes, and even from here can see the horror of what the battlefield must be with the reds and yellows and the greens burning everywhere. I love the writing of that.
I like that she refers to the reds and yellows as common flame,
Mm.
and then immediately goes into wildfire. Like, yeah, the common flame, which
Yeah.
is just burning everything down. But don't worry, there's something worse.
I like the color connection though too to the Lannister colors.
Mm-hmm.
As they're that subtle kind of textual jab at the Lannisters being lesser.
We should talk.
Let's talk about
the Hound.
Sansan. Yeah. Let's get into
Let's
it.
talk about the Hound, because this is
I have
incredible
questions
sequence.
about this section.
Ask your
I'm
questions.
not sure what to make of it.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Let's start with some questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I read this, I don't know. I can pick apart the point when he's saying that he's leaving and he wants to take her with him to protect her. But then I don't know if the song that he wants is about threatening to kill her to protect her, or is the threat... I feel like there's a threat there. I don't know if the threat is sexual.
You
I
think
don't
there's
think that.
There's a little bit of a threat. There's
But
a little
I
bit of a...
I don't know if it's about just acceptance that he wants her to look at him. I don't know what the threat that he's making is.
I think it's the only way he knows how to do this.
Do what?
Do
Russell?
what?
Like,
Wink.
talk.
no.
Try to convince her
Try
to
to,
go with him.
yeah.
The
Like,
the only means he has
is violence.
Yeah.
That's all he knows. Like, he still doesn't know compassion. And doesn't, like... The Hound could get her out. Like, he's right.
Yeah.
Like, he could take her with him and
Right
they could
now.
get away. Which is something that Sir Dantos can't do. You know? But he doesn't appeal to Sansa in a way that gets Sansa to agree to it. He only knows this violence, and he's so consumed with his own issues. And I think it really is kind of a self-hatred of, like, there's no way she'll go with me unless I threaten to kill her. You know? Like, and I'm sympathetic to Sandor, and I'm going to look for the good in his actions. And there's a lot of discussion, I feel like, about this chapter of how much Sansa's... Like, how reliable of a narrator Sansa is. Which you might be able to speak to, Caitlin. I don't know. And... So I guess I'll just hand it off there.
I think that Sansa is a good narrator in this moment because I like that we get her perspective on what's happening.
Okay.
You know, we have her asking questions, her not knowing, on page 866, she didn't know what he meant, she couldn't sing for him now, here, I can't, let me go, and she's just trying to figure out what's happening when she's already terrified. Like, she came to her bedchamber thinking, like, somebody's going to come kill me, and then it's the Hound, and he doesn't kill her.
He offers to save her.
Yeah, he offers to save her, and I like,
But she
you know,
thinks he's going to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
He does say, "Sing for your little life."
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to get there. I was going to say, I like, you know, he yanked her closer, and for a moment she thought he meant to kiss her. And that's an interesting statement, because I don't think most characters would say, like, oh, he's going to try to kiss me now. And for Sansa to say it about Sandor is particularly interesting to me. I wonder what her thought process is about him, what her perspective on him is when he's saying, like, he could take her away and go anywhere.
I'm curious. I have a question on that paragraph. Let's talk about that for a second. Where she thought he might kiss her. Do you guys think that was his intent? Because I feel like he then follows it up and says, "Still can't bear to look, can you?" I feel like he just wants her to see him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yes.
What do you guys think? Like, I don't think he has the intent to kiss her there or
I don't
anything.
think he turned it down. But
Well,
no, I agree
no.
that his main purpose is to, like,
He wants
just
to
wants
be
her to
seen.
be able to look at him and not shy away.
Not be scared.
I
Yeah.
think that if she had looked at him with compassion, he might have kissed her.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think
Sure.
I don't think he would have kissed her without some sort of consent from her.
You don't think he would have pulled a Jorah, like where Jorah
No.
kisses Dany,
I
just
don't.
like...
Do not think that he would have done that.
I don't think so either.
And
I don't think so either.
Has that happened already?
Yeah.
Jorah kissing Dany?
It happens in game, I think. The end of game. Beginning of this book. That's happened.
Okay.
Also, he's crying.
Yeah,
He's
totally. He's
so
totally crying.
crying.
Wetness that was not blood you're talking about?
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
page
That
867.
or one of his eyeballs popped out, but I'm guessing it's crying.
Yeah, we only know of one character with an eye patch so far.
So far.
Well, not so far in these, but like so far in the series. Two,
And it's
I guess.
he's crying when she's singing to him.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh.
And like she's not singing a crazy song. This is like save our sons. Like this all the words that are listed here are just what I think everybody needs to think about Sandor. Save him. Save him.
And he leaves his cloak there.
Yeah.
A white wool stained by blood and fire.
Mm-hmm.
I know that
It's not white anymore.
We've been continually being like, pay attention to the cloak. Well, now she has it.
Yeah, track this.
Track it.
I like that it represents for him maybe a step in at least not killing for other people on someone else's orders. He'll do his own killing, which he can decide what that should be. It won't be for Joffrey, which is going to be cruel and inhumane. And
Yeah, he can kill who he wants to kill.
Yeah, and maybe he'll decide he doesn't want to do that.
And then I like, it goes from on 867, some instinct made her lift her hand and cup his cheek with her fingers. Like she's being compassionate to him. And like she's cupping his cheek and it's wet with tears. Like that's incredible. And then on the next page when Dantos comes in, she just shakes him. Like, what happened? Tell me what happened. Like she's pissed at that point.
He's really burying the lead.
I mean, yeah, I love the contrasting that goes on between Sandor and Dantos, because he was as drunk as the Hound had been, but in him it was a dancing, happy drunk. The Hound runs away from the battle, and Dantos is here saying he wishes he were in it.
And this goes back to like Sansa's entire concept around what makes a true knight, and like what is a knight, because the Hound's he's not a true knight. Dantos was a knight, and their perspectives about this kind of battle and what happens, I think is great commentary on what Sansa will come to expect from knights.
I agree. This is a really important moment for Sansa, I think, for both characters, but for Sansa, since she's a point of view character, I think there's a turning point kind of in her here, and in the next chapter as well.
Yeah.
I'm
so excited to talk about that when we get there.
Yeah. Do we have Joel, anything else?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
We should just talk about the very
end. Yeah.
Yeah, that
All right,
Dantos... Well, hang on. Let me get to that. So Dantos gives the news of what exactly happened, and it was Tywin's host coming in and defeating Stannis in the rear. And also, Renly is there, guys. Renly's back.
The ghost of Renly, he's back.
Renly's back. We're going to see a lot more of him.
When you read that,
he
when you read this, did you think
the very first time?
Yeah.
No.
You didn't think
But I
that
didn't think
actually...
it was someone dressed in his armor.
Okay.
I thought it was magic. I didn't think Renly. I thought it was some sort of like glamour trick.
Oh, okay.
And that is also not confirmed by this book. We don't know why people are saying that. We just know that the armor was there. We don't know who was wearing it by the end of this book.
That's true.
That comes out in Storm, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It comes out. It's Garland.
Yeah. The other
Tyrell.
The other
Garland
I like
Green.
To, Dantos is like, do you know who led them? Do you? And she's like, Rob? A little bit of hope there that your brother is taken.
I love tell me what happened, Sansa shook him. I didn't notice that earlier.
Isn't that great?
That's hilarious.
It's interesting also the way it's starting to show how information travels and how we saw how battles are really segmented and confused, and those narratives are starting to come together and the details getting more clear after the battle's been over.
I also really like, at the end of this chapter when Dantos is like, oh, the banners, to be a knight. But when he launches into his description of the battle, he's laughing and hopping from one leg to the other. He's truly the fool.
Yeah.
Like this might be Dantos's lowest moment.
And he has a lot of low moments.
I don't know. Is this worse than when he like stumbled to put his armor on because he was drunk and was made into the fool? Like that might actually be, I think, his worst, because at this point he's accepted that he's the fool. But like at that point,
no. But
it's
I
like
think,
a knight hitting the
but
low
I think
point.
this is him playing the fool and dreaming of being a knight. You know what I mean?
That's so sad.
Right? Oh no!
So sad.
Because he was never an effective knight. He was never in battles like this.
He's an effective
Right?
fool, though.
Right. But at this point, there's no part of him left that's Sir Dantos anymore.
And I mean that he never was. I think he loves this
no.
because he was never he never experienced a battle like this, so he doesn't know how bad it is. I mean, I don't know what's worse, having been in a situation like this and thinking that would be great to experience the heroism, or just never having been in a battle and thinking this would be plum.
I'm just thinking about what happens to Dantos and Storm, and I'm so sad.
Quit doing that. I don't know.
You've seen the show.
Who knows what things are different in
All right,
Storm.
let's go. Let's move on.
Let's move on to Daenerys.
We got a lot,
5,
guys.
the final Daenerys chapter of A Clash of Kings,
I like talking about
in
this.
which she leaves Karth and tries to find a ship, and she gets one because friggin' Strong Belwas and Arston Whitebeard show up.
Who's like immediately cool.
Strong Belwas?
Both.
Both of them are, yeah. As soon as I got to that part in her chapter, like the first part of this chapter, I'm like,
whatever.
This is kind of lame. And then they show up, I'm like, oh yeah, Dany. Like,
there's still a couple of interesting details in the beginning of this chapter. First, this is the second paragraph of her chapter. It starts, the milkman thought of her. If the milkman thought of her as savage, she would dress the part for him. And I feel like this is a big part of Dany for the rest of what we know of her arc in the books, because she continually talks about playing a character for whatever audience she's in front of, and keeping her true motivations, keeping her true self kind of hidden back behind a front. And a lot of that has to do with fashion, which I think is interesting because she's often thought of as this like warrior queen character, but so much of her character comes from what she's wearing. And how
what she's wearing is always whoever she's with.
Exactly, and it's the part that she's playing.
who are you wearing today? Oh, Dothraki.
Exactly. And so I just think that's, some people give George a lot of shit for describing in such detail the clothing of the characters, but it's important to who they are as characters and how they carry themselves. Same with the food that they're eating. It's all about how they're acting in the situation that they're in. And for Dany to consciously, in her inner monologue, say dress the part for them, I think that's something that's going to be really important to how she interacts with many characters going forward.
I like to, on 871, continuing her internal monologue as she's watching, the children, beggars, skinny dogs, pale men in dusty linen skirts. They know who I am and they do not love me. And you could tell from the way they looked at her. And I think that's, considering the trajectory of her arc and the different peoples she'll surround herself with, being able to recognize that these people do not love her is important. And I'll be interested for the conversation in later books if she is still able to recognize this.
Sure.
Yeah.
To have that awareness.
Without getting too far ahead.
Sure.
Some of these beats are also familiar to her experience and Viserys' experience of feeling like a beggar and pursued by danger, because there are fewer options to her. She doesn't have money. Zara won't help her. And there are people like the warlocks who are now after her. But I found it interesting that there's a difference now in her where she feels confident refusing Zaro, and that there are still these threats, but she is accepting of what her identity is now and that there's strength in that. Mm-hmm. She's not seeing Karth as this source of help. She's feeling the anxiety, but I think it's different now. There's more of, since the House of the Undying, there's more she's more self-possessed. Yeah.
I like her descriptions. She was fleeing again. Her whole life had been one long flight, it seemed. She began running in her mother's womb and never once stopped, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was run or die. She doesn't have a home.
You could say that she's
No, don't do it.
the girl who ran.
What is this?
What's that?
What is that?
Isn't that Doctor Who?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Glass candles are burning.
Yep.
Also,
Candles are burning.
there are phantom tortoises.
Ghost grass too.
Have been wait no whatever. We've seen ghost grass. Ghost grass is just grass.
No, we've only heard about it.
Whatever.
I don't remember this
Phantom
passage.
tortoises carrying messages. That's amazing.
Yeah, what does that mean?
And how long do these messages take to get anywhere?
Oh, what a weird passage.
Yeah, there's some weird shit in Karth, but
I wonder if they're painted red and black and have horns on them.
what?
Phantom
Oh,
tortoise.
the Phantom Tortoise.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Unless we will reveal ourselves to
Is
the
it?
Carthene.
Is it just me, or does seeing Garden of I just like had a moment where that just said Garden of Gethsemane from the Bible.
Gethsemane.
That might be
Gethsemane.
that
Yeah, I
might
can't pronounce it.
that might be an influence. I don't know.
But ghost grass is here. We've only heard about it happening beyond a shy, like actual ghost grass.
They're
Where's the Garden of
I don't. It's in
Gehan.
the south side of the city.
okay. I want to say one thing about Zorro and then move on to the end of the chapter because it's way better. Zorro to me. Oh, there's important things that happen with Dany and Zorro. Like
Yes.
you can't just gloss over her interactions with him.
Can't
He's
wipe away those
such-
tears.
He's such a terrible character, I think, that it's hard for me to read interactions with Zorro. Like, I just hate Zorro so much.
I didn't know anyone felt that strongly one way or the other about Zorro.
It's
I
hard
don't
for
like
it's
Zorro.
hard for me to read this
Are you saying he
conversation.
is a character you do not like, or he's a badly written character?
Both.
Tell
I
me
don't
why-
think he's a well-written character.
Tell me about that.
I think like I know that like he has a personality. He's probably gay. He's like this, like there's all this. There is some depth to him.
He loves trade.
He's
I mean,
a
it's-
traitor.
I don't know, not just gay, but like young boys.
Sure.
I'm
But
really uncomfortable.
it
with
is.
Zorro.
but there's so little variation in his message that I think is the problem. Like every conversation is, we should get married and then I'll wine and dine you forever and you can live in luxury forever and things will be the merchant king and queen of Karth and everything will be great. That is every single conversation. It is the book equivalent of Where Are My Dragons?
He's not changing
And
tactics.
He's not. Like every other character has such a depth to their scheming and plays the games. Like he's worse. He's the worst at the game. Ned was better at the game than Zorro.
He does give up a wing of his household and set her up with gifts and give her all sorts of things and gets nothing in return. It's
Yeah,
true.
he gets nothing.
So here's the way I read him.
Okay, but
Wait.
hang
in the
hang
friend
on,
zone.
Hang on. No.
Danny's stupid.
I think you're misinterpreting what I meant. I'm not advocating for her to put out anything.
He offers as a gift to take her in. He should not expect anything in return.
No, it's more in the context of playing the game is what we're saying, that he's not effective at doing it. Like he made his move
yeah.
and did not win by playing his
What?
game. By playing.
No,
his
no,
move.
no.
Gosh,
That's
it's
not what
about
I
the
meant.
way-
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no one
yeah,
here
yeah,
meant
yeah.
that.
No one
saying
meant
Danny
that.
should put out
No.
Oh my God.
Zorro.
Except Zorro.
But
Zorro's
Zorro's saying
And he
that.
doesn't.
I don't even know if Zorro's
He
saying
doesn't
that.
even want that.
He just wants
some
the
dragons.
legal. He wants the piece of paper. But
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I didn't realize until I finished this chapter. I was like, oh, no one steals her dragons in the books.
no.
Like in the show, that's her whole Carthene thing. Is like
The
where are
show
my
show
dragons?
Karth was real bad.
Yeah.
Wait,
We get the
I wanted to.
repetition of her treasons on 874.
Oh, yeah, she
Wait,
like
before we
muses
get
it
into
up.
that, I want to
Joel.
wrap up Zorro.
Please.
The way I read Zorro is that, and this could be my experience of the book glossing over the not great characterization of this guy, but I read it as Carthene culture is so foreign that they have just been established for so long, and trade is this give and take that they are not used to playing the game. He is not used to this kind of person who is resistant to what would work with anyone else. It's a bit about trade. It's a bit about the foreignness of Dany to them and them to Dany.
Yeah, and Parthian culture is so different from anything she's experienced or would know.
They got boobs hanging out. Just one.
Just one.
That is an interesting point, Joel. That it's been so established and so like static that they haven't had to have the kind of seemingly they haven't had to have the political machinations that like Westeros has had. So, they're just rusty, I guess. But yeah, she muses on her treasons, and I really like after she's like, maybe it was these, and then she's like, no, that's probably not right.
Kind of like Cersei, as I expect we'll see later when we get to, in the books, her prophecy.
Feast.
Yeah. Dany's prophecy is beginning to influence her behavior, trying to see the symbols.
Yeah.
A little bit like, I don't know if you guys remember this, there was a comet at the beginning of this book that everyone seemed to think about. Guess what doesn't come up in these last chapters? That comet.
Yeah.
Comment?
The comet. Like
Oh,
the red.
comet.
Yeah.
I heard comment, and I was like, what comment? I like, she thinks about the threes and her family on 875. And like she doesn't understand what's a three-headed dragon, and is this Jorah who's like,
Yeah.
is
It's
Aegon
those-
and his sisters, like it's not the actual dragon, it's the people.
I like even before that though, he's just like, it's the sigil, it's the Targaryen sigil.
Jorah's very literal.
Nothing goes over my head.
Blue Rose.
Yep. Blue
What does
Rose.
any of it mean?
And I think this is the occasion when she knows for sure that this is Rhaegar. Because
Yeah.
Jorah identifies it as Rhaegar.
I like Jorah's reaction to he's like someone who's pretending to know about a band. He's like, Prince Rhaegar played such a harp.
I read it as Prince Rhaegar played such a harp.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I know,
like,
but like,
Prince Rhaegar played such a harp.
Oh, man, the best harp. We also get an explanation of a mummer's dragon, which is a cloth dragon on poles that gives the heroes something to fight.
what the hell?
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Hang on now.
Uh-oh.
Refresh.
That's not good.
We keep talking, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's cool.
wanna
I
make
don't
sure
think
we're-
we don't have any real iterations of a Mummer's Dragon yet, but I'm assuming it's coming. It's
Yeah.
not where I am yet in Feast. Like I haven't experienced that yet, so that'll be interesting to get to. And I like this. They start talking about the Song of Ice and Fire. It's like, oh, they said the thing.
Yeah.
They did it again.
No song I've ever heard of. Uh-oh.
Guys,
say
we're
in the
gonna
chat
go dark for just a
I don't
second.
think-
If you can still
wait.
hear us.
Say in the chat. It might be just us. I just want to know if they're still getting picture from us.
Yeah, can you guys still see us and hear us?
People were having issues earlier.
Yeah.
Jorah has a closet of Prince Rhaegar t-shirts.
Yeah, it could just be our player.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't on Ethernet.
Okay.
Oh, they get
Javier's
both.
getting
You guys
both.
get-
Okay, so
yes.
let's just
Yeah,
let's
like
just
yesterday
keep-
I was Wi-Fiing
Okay,
and it
alright,
wasn't
sure.
doing
You
it.
guys,
Sure.
can we get
Alright.
Prince Rhaegar playing the harp t-shirts?
Oh
and
my
jam
God! Yeah,
shirts?
if someone can do like a Dornish Marches tour 20,
Wow.
like 283 Rhaegar concert tour
Oh.
T-shirt,
The last
With
stop
Jorah
is the
wearing
Ruby
it.
Ford.
Such a harp.
such a harp, much harp.
All right.
Yeah, let us know if anything happens technical wise.
yeah,
if you
'cause
guys
our
lose
player
anything.
isn't working. That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah,
if,
so then-
Yeah.
Then we get Dany going to the market,
I'm
the
going
port
to-
markets
Black.
on 876.
Yep. And
It's a really colorful description of the port. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I liked hearing all the different reasons why they couldn't get a ship. Like, one guy doesn't want to take dragons. One guy's fine with dragons, but not Dothraki.
Racist.
And generally, they just
You're
don't have
not
enough
wrong.
money.
Yeah, mostly they just don't have money.
Where do we get to the...
They first see them on 878. On
Oh, yeah.
879, the old
Yeah.
man has the look of Westeros about him.
And they take a stop at this
And it's-
poor trader's stall
Yeah.
where he's just trying to
This
make a
is
sale, and they're using this.
I know, way to
This-
lead this guy astray,
yeah.
man.
They want this brass plate, and they're using it to see behind them. And he's like, okay, 10, 8, 6.
Like, way to get this guy's hopes up. He really thought he was going to make a sale today. And then...
He does, though. He does eventually.
Oh, they do, like...
Yeah.
Do they pay him?
She
I know
thinks
they...
once they do, like,
get the hell
what am
out
I
of
gonna
it.
do with this brass
You're going to
plate?
use it to whack strong Belwas in the face.
I really like the haggling with the trader. I think it's
Yeah, it's really funny. It's like a fun little, like, vaudevillian bit here.
It looks like they're
Yeah.
starting to get errors.
people are getting errors.
Oh.
I'm gonna try something real quick.
Careful. Is everyone still getting the error?
A lot of people are. We're
Oh, wait,
getting
it's
it.
good. Oh, wait, it's good, says Gunner.
Ask him
Yeah.
what we just said.
I think
Like,
it's just a...
I think it's just
I
people
just-
are getting
okay.
it.
Will
I
you
think
just
it's
wonder
like
if
try
they are
opening it
current
on
with
your
us
phone,
now.
James? Do you
Sure.
want to try opening the video on your
Yeah,
phone?
off of Wi-Fi though.
But I can try something here. Oops.
But don't stop any streaming.
Well, I would only have to cut it for a second.
Well, don't.
I don't have to like
do that
stop the
yet.
show.
Oh, okay.
It's just they won't be able to hear us for a second.
Sorry, guys.
All right, you won't.
We're good now?
We'll see.
We don't know.
But they should be able to hear us and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They should be able to hear us now. Yeah.
You can hear us? Can you hear us? Guy with the beard. Very funny, liquid, blah, blah, blah.
Audience, can you hear me?
Oh, well, they say what happened to Caitlyn, so they can see us.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's just
All
keep
right.
going, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Caitlyn dead.
Yeah. We're like, get out of here.
Man only.
Okay.
So a sorrowful man, tries to kill her. Who sent him? The Warlocks?
I believe.
You believe?
I believe.
It is known.
The sorrowful men are what? Just budget, faceless men,
I think so. Yeah, they're like your mid-shelf
Yeah.
faceless men.
right?
They're so...
Bottom shelf is cat's paws with. You
Sure,
weren't
okay.
supposed to be here.
Yeah. All right.
They're so cut rate that they give you a second's warning. In saying, I'm so sorry, you're like, wait.
Wait.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, that's a wet bandit level of... You're like, I have to have a calling card, but it's going to undermine you.
Yeah, maybe apologize after you kill him. You know, like to the body.
As they're dying, that'd be fine.
That'd be good. You know, as their lifeblood leaves them. But no. Okay. Also, what's a manticore? Is it a scorpion?
It is a scorpion body with well, this manticore seems to be a scorpion, but like a D&D manticore is like a scorpion body with like a lion
Yeah, like a
head.
lion face.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? That sounds cool.
Oh, were people concerned that I left?
Yes.
They were.
Aw.
They thought we killed you.
Hi guys, I'm not dead yet.
So, what do you think of Belwas and Arston?
So,
Joel as a book.
yeah,
First-timer.
I mean, it's interesting because Dany is in clear need, and here come these two people. She could choose to not trust them or trust them, and I like how that she isn't letting her desperation show, and she accepts them, but on her own terms. Like, what's his name? Strong Belwas. He has this moment with the Dothraki where he's threatening them, and she gives him this harsh warning. You will
Yeah.
accord all respect to my people, or you will leave my service sooner than you wish and with more scars than when you came. So she is making it clear to them that she does not need them, but she will accept them if they are loyal.
Yeah, if they follow her rules.
And also, it's interesting, again, being a show watcher, there's no strong Belwas. There's a guy who shows up, whose identity we know immediately, because we've seen his face on the show,
Yeah.
as Barristan Selmy, but not sent on the show by Illyrio. So it's interesting to me that Illyrio is still keeping
they
tabs on her.
The show just kind of drops Illyrio. Do we hear about him again?
We don't hear about him again until Tyrion shows up in Pentos.
Oh, that's right.
with Varys.
Yeah, but yeah, in the in the books, he is a constant puppet master.
But I also, one more thing on Illyrio, I'm also going to see, I'm assuming, barring the show is not very different from the books, that she's going to Slaver's Bay. So when Illyrio's message is to come to Pentos, we don't get a resolution on her decision in this book just yet.
She goes to Sotheros and opens a tiki bar.
That's what happens in the books.
Yeah.
That sounds like
It's way
a...
better.
It's a real
And
good time.
All
That's
the drinks are
interesting.
smoked by her dragons.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Is Darza Lorak is just like a tiki bar bartender
Yep.
who she snags.
Game of Thrones Book Club, Libation Studios.
No.
Are we ready to go to Arya 10?
No.
wait,
I have
wait.
one more
Oh
point.
man, guys, we have a lot.
We're
of
gonna
chat.
be
I know.
fine.
This is my one point though. 882, top of 883. Arston calls Jorah Lord Mormont. And then you know me as well. I saw you fight a time or two at Lannisport where you near unhorsed the Kingslayer on Pike there as well. Do you recall Lord Mormont? He's testing Jorah.
Yeah,
He
because
is.
I thought, how does Jorah not know Barristan Selmy?
I
Right?
think it's age,
How?
time, and the beard.
Beard.
That's my guess.
Still, Barristan Selmy is like one of the
Barristan
most
Selmy.
famous knights in Westeros.
Yeah, but Jorah's not that
Jorah's not that smart. I think
I guess that's true.
this is Barristan testing the first of my Queensguard. He's
Okay.
like, all right, who am I working with here?
Yeah.
Are these is this Arthur Dane or is this Boros Blunt? You know,
Aw.
he's somewhere
Also,
in between.
is one of these fights, is that where Jorah gets his
Pike.
lady wife?
No, that was that was
Is that
Lannisport.
Lannisport?
It was the turn.
It was
Yeah.
the tourney Lannisport.
When was
yeah.
Jorah knighted?
So he
Chelsea
was-
had that
Pike.
question. Was
Sorry.
it after Pike?
I was just gonna say he was a little distracted
Oh,
at
that's true,
Lannisport.
he was
Wouldn't have been
distracted,
paying
yeah.
attention to who was there.
Who was there?
Yeah, he was just
I think it
having
was
his own
Pike.
battle fever.
That he won his knighthood?
That he won his night.
No,
wasn't
I
he,
meant,
like, one
I
of
meant
the
that he
first
was
ones
high
in?
on victory
Second,
after victory.
after
That's what it
Thoros.
was.
Thoros. Yep.
Wink.
Okay, can we move on to Arya 10 now?
Yeah, let's
Is
do
this
it.
the final Arya chapter?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we're
like,
wrapping up
and
everybody now,
I
which
think
is
it's
fun.
so funny how like like everything's been so like epic and like big and kind of somewhat like there's been partially triumphant moments.
Uh-oh, we just dropped 20 people, so there might be a problem.
People probably can't. We keep getting errors. This is probably a YouTube issue.
God damn it, YouTube.
Like
just
I
trying to
can't. I
finish a
tried to
book.
back up code and
Yeah, everyone's getting errors now.
man,
The
we're
fuck,
gonna keep
YouTube?
talking if you guys can still hear us, but
If you can hear, can they hear us? Can we put in there if they can hear
The
us?
stream is dark and full of terrors. So sad.
Treat us like a podcast, guys, if you can hear us. Our voices are as pretty as our faces.
okay,
Okay.
no sound.
sound.
No.
What?
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy,
Some people can, some people can't. That's really weird.
this is
That's
really
very
frustrating
strange.
though.
So that sounds like it's definitely a YouTube problem.
Yeah.
If it's
Some people say it's been perfect the whole time. I don't think it's a snowstorm because we're in Los Angeles and we're having problems.
It is definitely the sun is shining outside today. Looks like
So.
some people have audio and video and some people don't.
Yeah. No video, no audio for
But
Yeah,
like
we
right
need to-
after someone
but yeah,
has
somebody
it.
says it's everything.
Should we try a new one?
I mean, I tried the backup
meant, like-
code and everything. Like, it's not.
what, like a new room?
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna do any good.
But we might as well try.
My only concern is that if we're having this error, is it on in the control room? Oh, that's never the case, is it? Can you ever see
No, I
this?
can never. I can't see it.
My concern is that it's not
Public
going to
view.
save this when we're done.
So I think if people are seeing it though, that it would save.
I guess that's true.
I mean, we've had ones that just get stuck with an error that YouTube says, "Oh, we're working on this," and
Yeah,
5
they
months
never
later.
fix it, yeah.
I don't
We,
know.
if not, worst comes to worst, we still have the audio.
Yeah. So I think we need to keep going.
All right.
It's a bummer. Sorry, guys.
Sorry,
this
guys.
one's not our fault. It is definitely YouTube here. In fact, I'm going to Twitter
Well,
search this.
we're
wrong,
gonna keep
moving
talking
on.
to you
We're gonna
guys.
carry on
Arya 10.
to Arya 10. I think it's hilarious how as soon as we get to an Arya chapter after like these big kind of capital F fantasy moments, then just everything's so shitty
Well, for Arya.
for Arya.
She's changing the rushes. She's emptying the piss pot.
and it's just like everybody hates her and
Yeah.
people are dying and they have like a rape line.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is
God.
awful.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
It
Yeah.
feels as bad to me as the chapter with the story from Chiswick.
Yeah, about the tavern keeper
Sir,
daughter.
Like that is horrifying in so
Not
many because
good.
of the sheer detail we get. But this, in how little detail we get, is,
How
is
matter
all-
of fact it's treated?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh man.
I
Poor
agree.
Pia.
I do like on the very first page when she just says, "If I was a crow, I could fly down and peck off his stupid lips."
Mhm.
And then I'm like, "All right, Bran."
Man, like 8 years ago, if we had done "If I Was a Crow" as a parody song, like wasn't that a song? Wasn't that like "If I Was a Boy"? Wasn't that a song?
What?
Somebody has to know this.
Feel.
Yeah, like
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Beyonce.
yeah, okay, yeah. If we had done "If I Was a Crow,"
I mean, I guess you still could.
no,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Everybody loves
totally
Beyonce.
I don't get it.
Wow.
What's wrong with you?
I don't get it. She's
So,
very talented.
in way of a summary, this is also the
Whatever.
chapter when Arya. Do you have a summary? Do you want me?
I don't.
Oh.
Go ahead.
This
okay.
is also the chapter when she is paying attention to developments that are being discussed with Roose Bolton and his commanders, then the phrase, and learns that Bran and Rickon, she hears, are dead. She also witnesses Roose Bolton order some commanders to go to Duskendale. After that, she decides, you know what? I'm going to be me again. I'm a wolf. I'm Ned Stark's kid. I'm Arya Stark. And arranges for Hot Pie and Gendry to escape. She kills a guy, and they leave.
Show's
I want to say one more. We don't have to dwell on it and talk about it anymore, but I do want to say one other thing about the rape line. The detail that they were stripped and shaved, that recalled to me what they would do to people in World War II. You know, to women who had slept with Nazis when they would liberate cities in France and Belgium.
Yeah.
They'd like shave their heads and humiliate these women, and like
Mm.
that was like a real thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how far back that tradition goes. Ugh, that was weird to say, but
Right.
it was just a detail that stood out to me, that the like on top of the stocks and that horrific thing, the added humiliation, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of what Arya could be facing right now, the kind of abuse and punishment, things seem to be actually going pretty well. She's getting threats and looks, but she actually seems to be managing right now.
Yeah, she says less work than it was. Just being Roose's pretty much, I don't know, cupbearer,
I like
squire.
on page 893, and by like I mean feel weird about when Roose says he's going to hunt. It is wolves I mean to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just wrote "oh shit" in my margin.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he goes on and talks about dire wolves and common wolves, but I wonder
There's
what
some-
kind of wolves do you mean, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that starting because on 891, I found it curious that the Freys are more negative on the chances that Robb has to win the war. They're saying it. He's lost the North. His brothers are dead. The war is lost. And while Roose Bolton does not outright condemn them, he challenges them enough, their statements, but he does also say at the end, he'll think on what they've said.
There are a lot of phrase in this chapter.
Yeah. But also, yeah, Roose is sitting here and he's not concerned about Tywin marching on Harrenhal. I think that's a sign
That's
that
a
that
huge
they've
deal.
made an arrangement.
I
And-
think I just want to be a voice of a different opinion. I think that he is also stating what is strategically in Tywin's interest. He's going to be at King's Landing for a while. It would not make sense for him to come to Harrenhal yet.
But I also think like this is the chapter where we find out that he's ordering the Glovers and the Tall Hearts to march on Duskendale, and
Yes.
that
It makes no sense.
it makes no sense.
It's
Why?
pretty close to King's Landing. It's in the Crownlands.
It doesn't gain them anything.
It only puts them
It's
in
a
danger.
fortified castle. It doesn't get them any. Like it's a bad idea. And so far we've seen Roose be a pretty capable commander, and especially like you said, where he's aware of like what is in Tywin's best interest. But to send two known loyalists, known northern loyalists, on a frivolous mission.
Yeah, like people would be
Like
loyal to
the
Ren.
hunting wolves, sending people to Duskendale, all the frays. Like there's evidence mounting up here that something is not right. It's and it's also like Gendry's like things are way worse now. Like I don't think we can ignore the fact that like things are worse than they have been. Like that's just a bigger kind of using the setting and the atmosphere as clue to plot kind of thing.
He also he says by command of the king, which he hasn't heard from Robb in a while.
Which king?
Totally.
Yeah. But also, he's generally creepy. He speaks at a whisper and gets leeches all
Yeah, are we going to talk
all
about the
over him.
leeches? Because
We should.
he's definitely laying here naked with leeches all over him while he's having his, like, his...
That's a pretty boss power move.
Yeah, that sounds like a Lyndon Johnson type thing.
Oh. And he has the black ones and the white ones.
Yeah, and the white ones are creepier because you can see them fill up with blood.
Yikes.
Also, he has a soft, hairless body. Probably because he's a vampire. I mean...
Some men don't grow hair on their bodies, James.
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm one of them. That's a little bit.
Except for that sweet beard you get.
Yeah.
And we get more information about how bad the bloody mummers are.
Oh, yeah.
Their
There's a
their
nice little
tactics are
summary of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a guy who likes little boys. You got a guy who likes or does black magic, and Biter fucking eats people.
Yikes.
And they're just going back to the people who helped them when they were Lannister men and killing them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awful.
And I like how Gendry points out, like, at least Sir Amory fought for his lord, but the mummers don't fight for anything. Like, Gendry is so, like he has a sense of, like, honor and duty that, he doesn't necessarily need to have, as just a blacksmith. But he respected fighting for a cause, even if that cause was the wrong one.
There's also on 898, she hears Ned's voice.
Yeah, I found it fascinating that it's not Bran and Rickon's death, that news, that changes her. On 894, she's thinking, I might be Nan forever and forever. Or she asks that question of herself and then just does her chores for a few hours. But it's only when she is in front of the tree that prompts this change in her of deciding to be Arya again.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like the commentary about who she is and calling back to her roots as a wolf, as Arya, as of Winterfell.
You guys ready for some tinfoil?
Uh-oh.
Yeah!
Okay.
Arya's secret target.
No. So she's in front of a heart tree, correct?
Yes.
Red leaves, red eyes, the eyes of the gods. Tell me what to do. She hears her father's voice. Is this adult Bran?
Maybe.
Because presumably adult Bran would have a voice that would be similar to Ned's.
Sure. It's possible. But it's also Ned's words, kind of,
Yeah, but
Words that he said to her only.
but what is...
I'm sure he said them
Yeah,
to
like,
everybody.
Ned was a man of maxims.
Well, yeah.
Sure, there's no evidence textually, but
And I don't know that he would have
maybe
said
make
it to
an
Bran
assumption.
because this was advice specifically for Arya.
Sure, but I'm just... I prefaced it with tinfoil.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Um,
But it's this idea again of the lone wolf dying and the pack surviving that when we first saw it in Game of Thrones, we kind of were a little chilled at for what it could mean for Arya. But for here, it means that she needs a pack, and her pack is Hot Pie and Gendry.
Aw.
Oh.
That's sweet.
But also, she does it in a selfish way because she puts them in danger by lying, saying that, oh, you're going to lose your feet, puts the stable boy in danger by saying,
Oh, that
oh.
stable boy's dead.
That
Oh,
stable boy
yeah.
is fucked.
So she's doing it
He's
at
super
their
dead.
expense.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, wait, you haven't mentioned it yet, so can I point this out?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Elmar?
Elmar Frey?
Elmar Frey being betrothed to his princess, who
Oh
is
yeah,
Arya
who's
Stark.
Arya? Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
That's so fantastic.
oh
And then
yeah.
she says, "I hope your princess dies."
Well,
Yeah.
well, that's because he's all bummed that now he can't marry a princess. So they've found out that Robb has married Jane.
Yeah, there's been some news.
Oh.
They're saying that, oh, we've been dishonored.
It's like it's over now. This
Well,
is
we
the
don't
chapter
find out
where it's
about that
over.
until
We
next
don't
book.
until next book, right? But they've found out,
Oh wow.
'Cause he-
Bruce knows too.
which means Roose knows too. So this is a chapter where everything is
Definitely.
done.
That's crazy. I didn't make that connection that Elmer was he named previously
I'm
in
sure
the
he
marriage
was.
arrangement?
I think
Or
it
is
was just
just
like
us
a
piecing it
son.
together?
Yeah.
Okay.
and I
thought
think
it
he's
was just
identified
that
in the
son.
last book, or he's identified
But
as that in the
not-
last
yeah,
book, but then
I-
we know
yeah.
who he is because of this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm supposed to marry Brent. Yeah, and now he's like,
Oh, that's amazing.
And she says, screw your princess.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so funny.
A stupid princess, she thought. That's nothing to cry over.
It's you.
I also just want to, for all the Gendry Arya shippers, point out that Gendry was naked.
Yeah.
When she woke him up.
Looking at that.
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, it's a good thing Arya Horseface didn't die. She might have been Elmar's glue.
Nice. Yeah.
All right.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
We can clip that. Woo. Hopefully.
Why?
All right. So they escape.
They get out of there.
They come along, even though
I
they didn't necessarily need to.
I like on 902 when she's contemplating telling one of the Dreadfort men to let her go because she's Arya. And she says, no, she dare not. He was a Northman, but not a Winterfell man, and he belonged to Roose Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, like, knowing what's coming, that, like, making that distinction of, like, he's from the North, but he's not from my North.
Right.
Is really important.
I think it's a good lesson for her that she knows to question loyalties that way.
Hashtag not my Northmen.
I want to point out Gendry with his blacksmith's hammer slung across his back, like his pop pop.
Aww.
And then Arya fucking kills a guy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And Popeye
So
is freaked out.
yeah, but here's the description of that killing. So she uses the coin, and she dupes this dude into like leaning down to pick up the coin. Which, like, this image of she's like walking up to this lonely guy with with this intent of murdering him. This like girl. She drops the coin. He leans
realizes
down.
he's too tall. She can't get out
Yeah,
of his
she
neck.
can't get at his neck. And then, and there was his neck right in front of her. Arya slid her dagger out and drew it across his throat as smooth as summer silk. His blood covered her hands in a hot gush, and he tried to shout, but there was blood in his mouth as well. Valar Morghulis, she whispered as he died. When she stood unmoving, she picked up the coin. Just like, she's enjoying this. Like, because earlier she says, when she says Valar Morghulis when she's praying, she says how much she liked the sound of the words. The exact line is, she liked how the words sounded when she said them. She's into this.
Yeah.
And going to do this, she felt as though Syrio Forel walked beside her, and Yoren and Jaqen Hagar and Jon Snow. I think it's interesting that when she has decided she's going to do this, Syrio, it's the first time in the whole chapter that she is invoking how she thinks of herself moving. She says, quiet as a shadow. So she feels empowered and very at home when she can do this, and doesn't think on it as remarkable. This is her first solo kill. like Jaqen helped her with all the ones before.
No, she killed the stable boy.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she
Oh,
stuck a sword in
yeah.
his
right.
belly.
Never
She's
mind.
killed some people.
But he
Is
was, you could argue that was self-defense because he was like, I'm gonna get you and
Yeah.
give you to the queen.
This is her first premeditated homicide.
Is
Sure.
this the
Yeah.
first description we get of a throat being slit?
Wasn't Ren
Oh, like as foreshadowing? I feel like there's been
Wait,
other
what?
throats.
Have there? I just feel like it's
No, lots of throats have been slit.
Yeah,
we slit throats all
like
the time
how
here
many
on Game of Thrones
how
Book Club.
many throats
Like
slitting deaths
intimate
have there
throat
been?
slittings?
Yeah. Of
Maybe
like
this-
somebody
this
somebody
might be the
from
most
behind,
intimate.
like behind one person and just like smoothly
She's in
cutting
front of
into-
him though.
Is she?
Yeah. Like he
Also-
leans down and then she cuts him.
Is she?
We had that little kid who was
Yeah.
who
I'm
who
just
couldn't
thinking
walk
about
in.
throats that get slit.
Sure.
There's a
No,
lot
yeah,
of them.
yeah, you can't ignore
There's
it.
stuff
You
coming.
can't ignore it. There's stuff. There's stuff. It's creepy.
Can we move on?
She's a creep.
Yeah, and then Hot Pie's like, you killed him. She's like, what'd you think I was gonna do?
Yeah.
And she's like, didn't you
And then-
stomp someone's balls to death?
And then this amazing line, the rain will wash them clean again, talking
Yeah.
about her
Bloody hands.
bloody hands.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving
Shansha.
on to Shansha.
I want to
8.
believe that they're just like riding along and she's just like, guys, that felt so good. And they're like, stop it.
You said you did it because you had to.
She's probably like looking at the blood on her hands like, sweet.
Yeah, like, stupid rain. That was so cool.
Shansha.
Sansa 8, our final Sansa chapter.
Shansha.
Do you have a
this
summary
book.
for this
I have
chapter?
no summaries.
Oh, I thought you would with your boy being back.
Yeah.
I know, finally the
I'm-
triumphant return of
He's
back in
Peter
town.
Baelish.
So sad the video's not on because
I
I've
know.
been waiting the whole time to be like, I'm using the Peter Baelish mug today.
Perhaps I'd better get on with making sons and grandsons
Ugh.
How are you gonna do that?
with Sansa.
This
this
is the chapter where Tywin shows up to court and they go through the farce of Joffrey setting aside Sansa for Marjorie.
Mm-hmm.
They reward people post Battle of Blackwater.
And then Tontos is like, but your life's still gonna suck.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, we have so much left.
I know, that's why I keep trying to move it along.
I want to
gonna be
say
good, guys.
the opening description of Joffrey's court here, is this the most crowded his court has ever been?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe so.
People have never been enthusiastic about his court.
But like
Yeah.
this one is hustling and bustling. Everybody's dressed nice.
Oh yeah, everyone's dressed real nice. Even
yeah.
Lord Giles has a silky square of scarlet to cough into. That guy, get him like some halls or something, please.
Jalabar Zo has his feathers on.
Is that... We don't have to get into it.
Okay.
It's a stupid aside.
And then I like the description of Tywin coming in. A blast
Mm-hmm.
of trumpets. He rode his war horse down the length of the hall and dismounted before the Iron Throne. And then just elaborate armor.
Yeah, that his armor is always mentioned as being insane and very impractical, as
Yeah.
Chelsea always points out, with the lions on
Yeah,
his
there's just
shoulders.
so
like,
many
one on his
places to
helmet, too.
hit him.
Yeah.
Even the horse's armor was gilded.
Yeah.
And then the horse takes a shit
Yep.
in front of Joffrey.
Which is hilarious.
He has to step around it.
Yeah.
That's better, I think, than in the show, though that is quite an image on the show.
It's a well done shot on the show. Until your grace does come of age, Tywin says.
Oh.
And Joff fastens the hand's chain of office around his neck.
Yeah, I love Sansa's cynicism in her point of view of this whole thing, because
Yeah.
twice she says Joff made a show, Joff made a big show, and the king descended the throne once more to greet them, a great honor.
I like-
that little
yeah.
clause, a great honor, I read as very sarcastic.
I like how he's more Joff than he is the king. He's no longer like my king, my prince. Like
Yeah,
it's like this piece of shit.
yeah.
And her description of Mace, a once powerful man gone to fat. I like the expression "gone to fat."
She considers the lords and ladies in the hall a pack of trained dogs.
Sir Garland the Gallant.
I feel like she's finally in a place where she's like, okay, so I'm not going to be betrothed to him anymore. This is pretty good. And so it gives her the safety to watch this all with this cynicism and like, this dumb whole show, it's about to be over, I'm about to be good.
And she's
Well-
not taken the warning from Cersei yet of, this isn't the end.
That's not necessarily true, because we have on 907, Sansa leaned forward, her hands tight around the gallery's wooden rail. She knew what came next, but she was still frightened of what Joffrey might say, afraid that he would refuse to release her even now, when his whole kingdom depended on it.
Oh, yeah.
She felt as if she were back again on the marble steps outside the great sept of Baelor, waiting for her prince to grant her father mercy, instead hearing him command Ilan Payne to strike his head off. So I don't think she's completely comforted yet. I think
not
she's
completely,
still
no.
like, what if this doesn't happen the way they said it would?
Yeah, I think that anxiety comes up the most, at the moment that it's supposed to happen. It's that moment where, before you hit the launch button, you're hoping that everything goes right. Sorry, I just saw Hidden Figures.
I do think that
Don't apologize for that.
but even though she still has this fear, I think that there's a touch of acceptance with it. Like she's no longer naive enough to know or to think that there could be good. Like she's like, everything's terrible, but she's still afraid to die.
But
she hasn't lost hope, but I think the cynicism you're talking about, James, comes from an acceptance of everything's terrible.
Though she believes that things will not be terrible once this happens.
Yeah, she's fighting.
Yeah, right.
She's
But
excited.
a lot of but a lot of that does come from a lot of the cynicism, like before, like all the Joffs and stuff, like leading up to that point, and then that release. She's kind of like, even if I'm stuck here, at least I don't have to marry Joffrey and
Lothar Brune
Yeah,
Yep.
I saw that.
is raised to the estate of knighthood.
a free rider in the service of Lord Baelish.
That's right. So one of Baelish's men just got knighted.
I love these.
Dope.
I love these stories of heroism because we're getting more of a sense of all of the smaller stories that were happening in different parts of the battle. We get mention of, this person defended his lord and he was only 14 against all these foes. There was another single combat that happened. So yeah, I like seeing all these different parts of the battle.
Can we talk about on 908 the exchange between Sansa and Cersei, where Sansa's like, I want to go home, and Cersei's like, screw you, like, none of us get the things we want. And it just makes me sad.
Yeah, you should have learned by now, none of us get the things we want. That's Cersei's perspective.
And then it makes, now I'm thinking of the last Sansa chapter where Sandor's like, I'll take you anywhere, we can go to the north. And then here she's like, I want to go home.
Yeah, should have gone with Sandor. Should have gone with Sandor.
He should have played up the home aspect more. He just said, I'll take you away and protect you.
No, he says he would take her to the north. He says anywhere and cites the north as one of those places.
He did?
Yeah. Oh. That is on, I had it marked. I thought it was great. On 866 in the last chapter, he says he's going. She says, where will you go? Away from here, away from the fires, out the Iron Gate, north somewhere, anywhere. Like, he says he's going to go north. So, like, and then, in the next chapter, she's like, I want to go home. Her home is north. I don't know.
Are you a Sansan?
I'm not, but I am. I'm a Sansa and happiness and not being used for her claim.
Okay.
I ship Sansa with, like,
Sansa?
peace. Yeah. But there's a lot of great conversation about Sansan that I can jive with it sometimes. Not always, but, like, most of the time.
Said that the little dairy lord got killed in the Riverlands. He was in there when Robb was proclaimed King of the North. He was raising his little fist. Fist bumping the King of the North. But now he's dead, and who gets his lands? Who gets
Lancel.
No.
Is it?
Yes, Lancel indeed.
909?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an aside that, the imp is dying, some people say, from a terrible cut to his head.
Yep, just one little line.
And then...
And then Lord Peter Baelish, he looked so pleased.
Wait, you shouldn't say that. I should say that.
Although she hadn't heard of him doing anything especially heroic during the battle. Well, strategizing is plenty heroic, Sansa. How do you think the heroes got there?
So, Littlefinger's named Lord Paramount of the Trident. Sansa
Hell
does
yeah.
not understand why that's
This
cool,
is phase 1.
Yeah. In title now, he rules over the Riverlands.
That's right. And I mean, she at least is aware enough of the situation and like, well, they're not gonna like bow to you. They're with my brother, but you just wait.
I like to when she's talking about the Riverlands and how they're loyal to her family and 9/11. She's like, Robb has beaten them every time. He'll beat Lord Baelish too if he must. I was telling James this earlier, but I put if only in my margin.
I know.
Shut up, guys. Littlefinger is 1,000 times better of a character than Robb. 1,000 times.
Yeah, but he's still a villain.
Yeah, but you don't want him. You don't want that character to disappear in book 3.
No,
I
that's
just
true.
want Sansa to be okay.
Shut up. You read
I want her
Littlefinger
to
and you
be
enjoy
safe.
it.
I think you'll
am in
enjoy
Feast.
the ultimate resolution of Sansa and Littlefinger, and
Yeah,
I think it's gonna
you'll
come out
enjoy
on
it.
your side.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. He's gonna be king of the ashes someday.
He's gonna be king of nothing.
Oh, hey, Aurain the Bastard of Driftmark. As I don't know if this is the first time his name has popped up, but he was a captive. And,
Oh yeah.
He'll be important later. So just
Sure.
note the Bastard of Driftmark, Aurain.
When Joffrey cuts himself on the throne and he yells "Mother," what a piece
God.
of shit.
What
I
a
wrote
funny
whiny
image.
baby Joffrey.
Like in
Yeah.
front of, as you pointed out, Caitlin, like the most crowded his court has ever been.
And as someone in the chat pointed out, it's the most crowded, fanciest they've ever looked. That's for Tywin.
Oh, it's 100%
Now
for
that
Tywin.
Tywin's there, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, better put on, my not pajama pants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
they're
on the
all
court.
there for him. He's not in any danger, and yet he's rattled by a couple of guys who are yelling about how Stannis is the true king.
I'm king, kill him now. And then just
And he
like
cuts
slicing
himself.
his hand open.
Yikes.
That's awesome.
I like Sansa's statement on 9:13. They say the Iron Throne can be perilous cruel to those who were not meant to sit it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
And an important note: Tywin doesn't sit on the throne.
Yeah.
He
sits
moved
on
the Iron
steps.
Throne and there seated himself on a step, a mere 3 feet off the floor. Although he does say, "We continue," in a clear, strong voice that silenced the murmurs.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting.
He's not a Jaime sitting on the throne when the king vacates.
There was we'll talk about it later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then let's talk about the most important piece of information in this chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the spider web or the silver. hairnet.
Yeah, there's a hairnet given with these little amethysts.
Purple.
And it's lovelier than Sansa knows. It's
Purple
magic,
serpents
you see. It's
in her
justice
hair.
you hold. It's vengeance for your father. It's home.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously know what happens with these, but
Yeah, compared to the show, the planning of this is so... It's already happening. I mean,
It's happened.
the Queen of Thorns hasn't
It's
even gotten to
made-
the city yet.
The decision's been made. It was made when Littlefinger was gone.
Yeah.
The whole thing has been plotted out.
yeah, he's like, you'll marry Joffrey, but don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
I'm surprised that Dantos was informed of the plan.
I don't think he
Oh,
knows.
he doesn't know
doesn't.
what this is. He was just like,
He's-
here, give this
he's
to
only
her, and
told,
we'll leave
like-
this day.
He's only given the information that he needs to have at each stage. He's not given the
Oh.
whole overarching.
Yeah,
oh,
he
I
doesn't
disagree.
know.
I think
What?
he knows what's in it because
No, he doesn't.
he would not frame it as such. He is laying it on very thick when he says, "Oh yeah, it's very lovely." He says, "No, it's lovelier than you know. It's magic. It's justice you hold. It's vengeance. It's home."
Let me tell you how this went down, okay? Littlefinger gave Dantos this hairnet, and he's like, she's gonna say it's lovely. When she does, tell her it's lovelier than you know. Call her a sweet child and tell her it's magic. That is justice she holds. That is vengeance for her father. And that it's home. And then he might have kissed Dantos on the cheek. Just because he got really into it and imagined Sansa's face on top.
That's exactly what happened. He was fed every single word.
You think he's a Freddie Rumsen right now?
Yeah, Littlefinger's not like, Dantos, listen. I've got this great plan, and I'm going to share it all with you.
I mean, that seems unlikely, but he.
Come here, Mike.
There's no way. There's no way he knows what's going
I don't
on.
think-
I'm
don't think he told
surprised.
him the
I'm
details.
surprised that he told him anything about this. Besides, it's a gift where it always is special.
He knows what
I
he
think
needs to
James
know
is
when
on
he
it by
knows
saying
it.
that Dantos fed him every line.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds like Littlefinger.
Yeah. He knows what he needs to know when he needs to know it.
Like, he knows they're going to leave at Joff's wedding, and he knows she has to wear this hairnet because it's important somehow.
Yeah. Whatever.
I'm curious that he also let him know exactly what kind of gems they are, because he knows they're black
Well,
amethyst from the Shire.
that might just be something he knows. Like, he was a knight. He might just, like, know about them.
I don't know. We don't know.
We've established he is a dummy.
He is.
Theon
Yeah,
6.
That's the final Theon.
Thank God.
Come on. I love Theon chapters. I don't know why you hate them so much. Yeah, he's a despicable guy, but it's fun to read. He's such a whiny little entitled bastard. I love reading his shitty brain. It's like getting inside of it. I won't get political, but it's fun to see a perspective of someone so awful.
I mean, like, yeah, he's a definite villain, and I think it's written in such a way for us to feel disgusted by him.
Mm-hmm.
But it just makes me not care. Like, he's so awful that I just don't even want to read his chapters.
I think it's the same for me. I think it's just like I agree with you. Like it is interesting. He is interesting. Like it's the choice of this plot is a great plot.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so vile. Like his decisions are so stupid and so selfish.
And, like, the way he thinks of himself just, ugh,
Yeah.
he's the worst.
And how everyone knows that that's the way he thinks of himself, too.
Yeah, like he has no self-awareness.
Yeah.
Did my mic ever get put back to normal?
It did.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is Theon realizing the deep shit that he's in because
Yep.
Roderick has shown up and with like 1,000 guys
Yeah.
is getting ready to surround Winterfell, and even Theon's Ironborn leave him. He ends up with only 17 guys after the rest of them peace out, and so he tries a little gamble with Beth Cassell, Roderick's daughter, by having her in a noose, but before that can go horribly, horribly wrong, Ramsay shows up and kills all of Cassell's men, as well as Cassell himself, and then knocks out the Ironborn and Theon as well. Like, okay, so this, my first time through reading, I was so fucking confused.
Me too.
The chapter, or the paragraph on the bottom of 928. The man laughed, the wretch is dead. That paragraph, I remember reading this like 5 times in a row and still not getting entirely what had happened the first time I read
Yeah,
this.
I did the same.
But the thing that Ramsay there is explaining is Reek is dead, and that, you know, they were having a little spot of necrophilia when he knew that they were about to get captured, and so he gave Reek his clothes. Because in the show, there's not this other Reek. Theon is just our only Reek. But in the books, Reek was a guy before. Ramsay gave that Reek his armor and, like, convinced those people that he was Ramsay and then became Reek. That's where we're at. Yeah.
Ramsay is disgusting.
He's the worst.
He is the worst.
And I love how, you know, I mean, it's great that George takes this. You guys were just talking about how awful Theon is, and George is like, oh, let me show you someone even worse.
I do love the three villains theory. They're like,
Yes.
And
wonderful.
real quick, it's a theory someone posted online that the story is split into like 3 acts essentially.
You got
The overall
political,
series
war, and magic.
and that the political villain is Tywin, the war villain is Ramsay, and that the magic villain will be Euron.
And
So
then
you have
the
these
3
embodiments
heroes, too.
of, and then you have the heroes that kind of correspond with them. So you'd have Tyrion, Jon, and Dany.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
But look it up. It's an interesting theory. It's not ours.
I like to, you know, in this chapter, we get a lot of Theon and Maester Luwin.
Yes.
And I think seeing their interaction, because obviously Luwin has known Theon for, what, 8 or 9 years now?
Yeah.
I don't know how old
I
Theon's
think
supposed to
9.
be.
I think he's
9 to
19,
10.
19
Yeah.
or 20,
and
and
he will not claim to bear him any great love, but he doesn't hate him. 'Cause,
He
yeah.
can't
Like,
hate
he
him.
knows him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
same,
so he really
the same
tries
way
to
that
save him.
Creston felt about
Stannis.
Yeah, and he almost gets him too. It's so close.
To take the black.
Yeah.
I know. But, okay, here's another
I
fuck you
knew
Theon
you were gonna
moment.
say this. I know what
Okay.
it's gonna be.
Because his immediate thought in, oh, maybe I could take the black, is I have black garb aplenty once I tear the Krakens off. Even my horse is black.
And I could get some of that wildling pussy.
Yeah, and I could rise high in the watch, be chief of the Rangers, likely even Lord
I just
Commander.
wrote, he is so full of himself.
Yeah,
He immediately sees the opportunity and what he could gain without reflection on his choices.
yeah.
What he's done to people.
And I like, oh, this is so good. On 926, he says, a black cloak can't be turned. But, like,
Yep.
yes, it can.
Oh God, we haven't even gotten there yet.
I know!
Guys,
We
it's
gotta
gonna be
move,
fine.
guys.
We have like 40 minutes left. It's gonna be great.
And then the wilding woman wouldn't. What wilding woman wouldn't want a prince? Like he's still identifying himself as a prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, he
He's
was
such
so
a piece
close
of shit.
before Crom. Thanks, Crom. You just ruined everything. I guess Ramsay really did it.
Ramsay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you can kind of.
Oh, and then, I know last week you guys were talking about how Theon doesn't notice that, like, Reek suddenly smells better or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it's here again on 928.
Yeah.
Reek, Theon said, disquieted, how did a serving man get such
Just
fine
such
armor?
fine armor. Yeah.
Put it together.
It's really unfortunate that he still thinks that he doesn't know who is in the Red Helm. He doesn't try to identify them outside of the castle walls. He immediately invites them in.
Yeah.
It's
He's
so
just like, oh, you helped
backwards.
me, come on in. This is great. All things are good. I'm safe. I don't have to join the black.
Idiot.
I want to point out some more evidence that the Red Wedding plot is already in place.
Mm-hmm.
Theon is looking over the banners
What
of
page
the
is this?
assembled host. This is 919. And he says that there were tall heart trees, mermen from the White Harbor. Less common were the sigils of Flint and Karstark. And no Glovers, no Boltons, no Umbers. So it's Kerwins and some Hornwoods and Manderleys. So I think that's interesting. And then also later, at the end of the chapter, Ramsay says, "Save me the phrase,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says,
Which is
don't kill the Freys.
which is the Walders.
So, yeah, we can assume that Roose somehow,
Got word to Ramsay like go.
yeah, and Freys are allies now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Ramsay's like, burn the rest, burn it all. Like, how very heiress of you.
Burn them all.
My mad friend. We're not friends. I'm not friends with Ramsay. Fuck Ramsay.
This is more clear than in the show, though, as I think Javier mentioned in the chat. But the show doesn't make sense with the. They try to make it make sense, but Theon's arc is concluded in the show with his own Iron Men knocking him out and being like, "Let's go home," and then he's captured the next time we see him in season 3.
Yeah.
And
It's unclear who has burnt Winterfell.
it's unclear who burnt Winterfell. It's unclear what happened to Dagmar and the Ironborn, or like how Ramsay. And I guess what they knocked him out. They wanted to go home, and then Ramsay
Like let him.
intercepted, probably killed Dagmar and the Ironborn, and then took Theon captive. Right? Something like that. I don't know. It's not as clear in the show as it is here,
Yeah.
where like Ramsay just shows up, kills the Ironborn, and takes Theon captive. What do you guys think? Do we know what happens to these Ironborn who leave him when he draws the line in the sand?
Head north or head south?
Do they make it out though, or do they
Probably
get?
not.
I'm guessing they don't. But
They
I
probably
want to
don't
know if
make it
anyone knows definitively what happens to them, like
Who
Erzin and
leaves? What are
Stig
their
and
names?
the Ashes Men.
I'm trying to find their names. Oh, I don't remember where they are. I don't think that they'll make it out alive because they're gonna have to cut through
Yeah, that's
Roderick,
what it
and then they're
sounds.
also gonna have to cut through Ramsay,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna have to travel through the north without ships.
Yeah.
So like, I just don't see how
I think they've
they're
given
Ironborn,
up.
but
Yeah.
they're not. I don't think they're.
Asha was able to make it through. Maybe they can.
Asha is
That was
something
before
special.
Cassell.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Cassell because attention must be paid to a character we've had for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should.
A
it's,
good guy.
Yeah,
One
such
of
a
the
good
best.
guy
Yeah.
that even at the threat of his daughter being killed and in danger, he still goes ahead with his duty and says,
Yeah.
he's pleading with Theon, you can't do this. You know I'm going to have to do my duty. Like,
'Cause
gods be
yeah.
good. How can you do this?
Yeah, because Cassell is a damn knight. Like,
Yeah.
he is a true knight.
And I love on 923, he says, I have a duty to Lady Catelyn and House Stark.
Yeah, mention it,
He
yeah.
loves Catelyn. He's loyal to the end.
Like, he probably has had tea with Catelyn, and Cat's like, let me tell you the Tully words. And he's like, oh, duty, honor.
Those sound
Cool.
great.
I'm with you on that. Back you right up.
Yeah, I
over
think
this cup of tea.
we've mentioned it before. We talk about what is a true knight. Sir Roderick's a true knight. Like, as true a knight as we're gonna get, Barristan Selmy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But as true a knight as we're gonna get is Sir Roderick Cassell. So, R.I.P. in peace, Sir Roderick. You
Yeah,
deserve
Killed
better.
that Ramsay.
I know.
Cut
Does-
his hand off.
Does Beth die also?
I don't know,
would
but I assume that they would kill Beth. I'm not positive. Also, Leopold Tallhart and Clay Kerwin. Clay Kerwin was that
I know.
cool
Poor
one, right?
Clay. Yeah, he was like Rob's
Yeah,
buddy.
like Rob's bro.
Who was like cool to Bran.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, Bran. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he was
And
like
now
cool
now
older
dead.
friend. Yeah.
Ah, man.
Damn.
It, Ramsay.
I don't know if you talked about this when I was gone, but I wanted to. Found interesting the characterization that George gave Theon throughout the chapter of feeling like he was drowning, and that just kind of searching for a life preserver, feeling hopeless. There's a lot of talk of how certain he is that he's going to die and die friendless and alone.
Mm-hmm.
His desperation, I think, leads him to make a few bad choices, but also just horrible choices. And I think when he's down with Cassell, making that threat, I don't know how much he believes it, but he, again, is falling into the trap of thinking this is what I have to do.
Yeah. I would like to make a correction. Beth Cassell has not been murdered. She has been taken to the Dreadfort.
Yikes.
Worse.
What's worse? Yeah.
Well, that's bad for her.
It's interesting that you say that he's. I didn't remember him, Theon, being described as like drowning, but that's really interesting to be a Greyjoy who thinks of himself as drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that imagery is good. Again, George really steps it up.
Yeah. Oh, there are even lines. There are 2 lines in this that are interesting because they are not. The lines are a part of paragraphs about other things when Theon is coming out of the castle to meet with Sir Roderick.
The parlay.
Yeah, on 920. It's
Good
just
scene.
him walking out, and he says, as he emerged beneath the walls, he could sense the boys watching from the empty sockets where their eyes had been. Just the boys on the wall. And then when he returns, the small heads watched him come from their spikes, their tarred and flayed faces looming larger with every yard.
They weigh on him, obviously, but fuck you, Theon.
Yeah, not enough.
I do feel bad for Smiler.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably did
burned
not
alive?
spend anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along with all the other horses.
Yeah. Poor Smiler.
Yeah.
Hey, any other thoughts on Theon?
Nope.
Nope. Bye.
Goodbye, Theon.
We'll see you again in half a year.
Yep. Tyrion 15. Our wrap up of Tyrion. This is Tyrion just in a pain dream, coming in and out of consciousness before finally waking up and finding out that he doesn't really have a nose anymore, and discovering what happened after he was knocked the hell out by men and more, and how the battle was won for his men, but, Big Daddy Tywin took over the Hand of the King spot.
I read this one pretty late last night
Mm-hmm.
and don't have many notes.
I think Chelsea would probably start with that first paragraph where Tyrion is identifying himself so much as a Lannister, saying, a lion, I must be a lion, live a lion, die a lion. And I think Chelsea would be like, nope, you're not a lion. But also, I don't necessarily love the secret Targ theory, so I really like that Tyrion identifies so strongly with Lannisters.
There's more reinforcement of that too on 936, where he's imagining the conversation with a maid as fair as summer, who's as yet unnamed, and says, "I love to say your name. Tyrion Lannister. It goes with mine. Not the Lannister, the other part. Damn it. That kind of steps on my point.
What do you mean?
Not the Lannister, the other part.
Yep, not the Lannister.
Tyrion and
Doesn't matter.
Tysha and Tyrion, my lord Tyrion. And it's Tysha he's thinking about when I think that we were kind of led to believe that it could have been Shay.
Yeah, and this whole sequence makes it sound like she's really in love with him.
She totally was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She totally was.
Which really makes
Poor guy.
the whole thing so much sadder. Because
Yeah.
he's remembering this, thinking about it, and then being like, damn, she was
It
a good
wasn't
actor.
real,
Yeah,
yeah.
it wasn't real. Lies, he thought. All feigned, all for gold. She was a whore, Jamie's gift.
Oh.
Yep.
It's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
And just the teasing and playfulness that happens before that. Something as simple as, what do they do with the lazy servants in Casterly Rock, my lord? And he would tell her, they kiss them.
Yeah.
Kiss,
I,
kiss,
bet,
kiss, kiss,
I
kiss.
bet they beat them. I bet they flay them. No, they kiss them. Why are you talking about sad shit?
Probably wall them up in the basement. Wall them up with gold, like some
Ooh,
Casper
yeah.
Amontillado
Oh, yeah, right?
stuff.
I really like though I love your face, like the emphasis on like, you know, like I feel like when conversations he's had with Shay always start with like, oh, you're cock, like, oh, you're so good in bed and everything, but the Tysha conversation starts with I love you, Tyrion.
Yeah.
And then
Tells
it
him
goes,
to the
I love your
cocktail,
lips,
yeah.
your voice, the words you say to me, how you treat me gentle, I love your face, your hands, the way you touch me, and then it works out from there. It starts with the intangible and works outward. And I think that that's such an important difference to draw between the two, you know.
And he even says during this chapter, when he fears he has no mouth, what am I if not my words?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And I love that. I love, because, I mean, this has happened to everyone, I'm sure. Just his actual physical state inflicting itself in his dreams.
Yeah.
You know, he has this bandage over his mouth that he physically feels, so it manifests itself in his dream as like, I don't have a mouth, which is great. Love it.
Yeah, I really love the way his being carted from the battle and discovered among the dead, as we find out later, manifests in his hallucinations of being surrounded by the dead who are blaming him and crying out to him, and the way also the things that we know to be real filter in as dreams and memories.
Yeah, like he imagines what he thinks seeing Cersei and Tywin over him, and then he's like, oh no, that can't be, because Tywin's not here.
But it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I want to talk about his dream where he thinks of the victory feast for a second. I think this
What
is
page
Where's
is
this?
please?
Yeah.
934. It seems like it's everything he wishes for. It's a recognition by all of these people lifting their goblets to him of his deeds and of his heroism.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song being sung about him. There's approval from Tywin, respect from Jaime, love from Shay openly, and Cersei's not even there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Jaime knights him.
Yeah.
Like what more could Tyrion really want? Like sure, even his father smiles with approval, but like this is like Jaime knights him. Like that's like the most.
But I love, yeah, you're right. In his ideal world, Cersei's not even there.
And then he woke in darkness to a cold, empty room.
James, what did you think of 933 when Tyrion thinks about Littlefinger and calls him a bloody, treacherous bastard?
It's pretty accurate.
Tyrion's just a little jelly. 'cause he's laying there in a dungeon while Littlefinger's Lord of the Trident. So,
I mean,
whatever, Tyrion.
he's half right. Like he did come back from Bitterbridge, but he is treacherous.
I love how Littlefinger made a quip.
Yeah.
And I
What
also
do we
like
call him now,
above
the
that
Waterman?
above that
That's
when
his quip.
Tyrion's thinking about like he needs people to help him and
Yeah.
the people he thinks about Jaime, Shay, his mother,
Mm-hmm.
Tysha. Like, I want to know more about Joanna Lannister.
We all want to know more about
I
Joanna
also
Lannister.
want that fan art of Chelsea as Joanna Lannister.
Anybody who's still watching and can still hear us. Yeah, I mean, and then he wakes up, he's all upset.
Balabar.
There's
He
a lo-
sees his grossness.
Oh, yeah.
I think that one thing the show does a little bit better, I liked a lot of this because the show can't convey this slipping in and out of consciousness, but I appreciate that the show more effectively communicates the shifts in power with the return of Pycelle.
Yes.
With Bran not really being allowed to be loyal to him, and also it being pointed that he has none of his clansmen or sellswords anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be highlighted in Storm, but for right
Pycelle
now,
is a much bigger character in the show than the books, and using him as like emblematic, I guess, of the fact that Tyrion's out of power now. I think it's really nice.
yeah, it's like you're succeeded by this guy who just reverses all of your policies.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
Guys.
With a lot of executive power unchecked.
You guys.
I really,
you all.
I really like how Tyrion, when he asks Pod at the end of the chapters about Sir Mandon,
The odd boy.
I never meant to. He starts to say, "I never meant to kill him," but Tyrion still has the wits to cut him off and like not vocalize the fact that Pod killed a Kingsguard, because like that would not be okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing for Sir Mandon to not have succeeded in killing Tyrion and then fall in battle under mysterious circumstances. But if it got out that Pod killed him saving Tyrion...
Yeah, Pod might have
Pod
an accident.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or just
be
murder,
killed for
because
killing
who
a
cares?
Kingsguard.
Yeah, who cares about
But,
Pod?
And the explanation they settle on is drowned.
yeah, and that's Pod's suggestion. You know? Like, he's shy and he's you know, he doesn't have the confidence, but Pod's not stupid.
Yeah.
And he's very capable.
He ends up getting knocked off the boat, so he does drown.
Yeah, but...
No, Pod stabs him with a spear.
And then probably pushes him off the boat.
Yeah, sure, okay, yeah. He ends up in the water. Yeah, but and then he has that sad thought to close this out of. I wonder how Taisha would like his face.
She
He thought
probably
bitterly.
would love it.
Because she loves
Probably
you,
would
Tyrion.
say, like, you're so brave.
Yeah.
Bummer,
Let's
dude.
move on to the fucking most
Oh,
badass
this is
chapter,
awesome.
John 8.
This is awesome.
Oh, this is what we've all
We
been waiting
lose
for.
some good people in this book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
Do you want to
so-
give a summary?
Sure, this is the chapter where John and Corin Halfhand try to outrun the eagle and the wildlings on them, and they think they do it when they cut through a mountain, but then they just come out and there's that eagle sitting there, and I just love that moment because it's like, surely we must have lost them. Nope. And so they decide to make a stand, but Corin tells John to yield and to make sure he does whatever they ask him to do to prove his loyalty to them, which, as Corin probably surmised, is to fight and kill Corin Halfhand. And so they fight, John kills him, and the wildlings take him in with help from Egret being like, "Hey, he saved my life. Let's make sure we don't kill him."
No,
No,
that's
I
cocky.
don't
No,
think
Yeah,
that's
that's
bad
Egret,
cockney.
No.
That's what she sounds like in the books, right?
No.
No.
I think
She's
that's a
of the
great
North.
Egret. I
She's-
think if
yeah.
You
Brock
need
and
a
Brizzy were
northern
here, they would
accent.
Yeah.
commend me.
You
I'm
need-
not convinced.
Aye, that man's
That's
Jon
how you
Snow.
start all your. That's how you get into it.
That's
Aye.
the blood of Ned Starky is.
I don't think that's how she
No,
would say
that's-
You're
that.
doing your best, Dick Van Dyke. I'll give
I
you
really don't think that's correct.
Uh,
I like
yeah.
I like that this opens. I really like John sitting there looking at Ghost and thinking, will he howl for me when I'm dead, as Bran's wolf howled when he fell? Will Shaggy Dog howl far off in Winterfell, and Greywind and Nymeria wherever they might be? And just he's thinking about the pack, and
Yeah.
particularly coming after the chapter where Arya is thinking about the pack.
mm-hmm.
I literally just wrote the pack. The pack. I like that a lot, that he's up in, you know, the mountains with Corin and just thinks of his family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the puppers.
And I like how he accepts it as well. Like John not being fully aware of the plan is like, okay, this is it for us.
Yeah.
What do you think of Eben's resistance to the assignment to ride for Mormont?
Oh, no, I think his resistance is in line with this is with this assignment I could possibly live. Why not send John? Because give him the chance to survive. I'll make a last stand with you, Corin. and
Yeah, I
finish it
agree.
off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
He's
anything
not like, but
besides that.
John could go.
Yeah.
No.
No.
He's like,
No, these are Shadow Tower men.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
No,
think,
okay.
I think
Shout
too,
out to our men
if
of the
they're
I
sending,
agree.
Like, and I think too, if they're sending him back to Mormont, like they know that John is Mormont's steward.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
He'd be more valuable in the long run. He's
Yeah.
younger.
yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
we find out that Eben is caught and killed by the wildlings. We don't get any verification on Shadow Snake. What's his name?
Stone Snake.
Stone
Stone
Snake.
Snake?
Either way, I'll look up if he.
I'm sure
Yeah.
he doesn't make it.
I like on 9:45 when Corin and John say their vows again.
Oh God,
That's
so great.
awesome.
Before we get there, let's just run through just how badass Corin is. Okay, so first he sends Eben away. So that I think the sole purpose of that is to get alone time with John. And then when he says to Stone Snake, if anybody can make it through the Frost Fangs, you can. Make for the fist. Tell Mormont what Jon Snow saw and how. Tell him that the old powers are waking. Tell that he faces giants and wargs and worse. Tell him that the trees have eyes again. And this goes back to something that I've been saying forever. The real Rangers know what's up.
Yeah.
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 The ones who are out there facing it on a somewhat
Your
daily
your
basis.
Ben Starks.
Yeah.
Your Corins.
They know
you
what the
know,
Night's Watch is for.
Your
They haven't
Cotter
gotten
Pikes,
comfortable.
maybe.
You forgot to say something that also shows how badass he is in
Yes,
the paragraph prior.
please.
When he's like, "All right, we gotta put this horse blood in with our oats."
Yep.
Like,
Oh yeah. Like we
need
need some
some,
iron and some protein and yeah.
I like how in that passage that he says to Stone Snake, the fantastical elements are, because of the world that we've come to know, that is mostly, for most people, pretty grounded. To have him, again, take these things very seriously just emphasizes how competent he is. And, I don't know, it's very exciting to see these things being treated seriously at this point.
And then the last badass thing before reciting the words, he asks Jon for the first time of several times, "Is your sword sharp, Jon Snow?"
Wait, he asked that several times.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then his final, well, we'll get there. And then they recite the words, which is so incredible. Corin's awareness to reaffirm those vows with Jon before explaining his plan,
Yeah.
and Jon's hesitance and then his acceptance.
Yeah.
I'm a Jon defender always, so I'm going to defer to you guys as to how much Jon is like, I must do this because it is my duty, and how much Jon is like, great, there's a way out.
Oh, I
it's
think.
his duty.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
'cause
That's what I think, obviously.
Because
But
he
like,
says earlier, like, I'm not afraid to die, and he's like, it's a half true at least.
sure.
You know?
And it's Corin's asking on 9:46, "Are you a man of the Night's Watch?" He's like, "Yes, but." And he's like, "No buts. Like, are you?" And he's like, "I am." So he's dedicated to the Night's Watch.
Yeah, at the beginning of this book, we got him settling into the choice he made at the end of Game of Thrones, when he was being pulled by these two different life paths to be a member of the Night's Watch and be the best that he could. So I think now, after having made that choice so decisively, to be asked to go against his duty is the one thing he does not want to do.
And it's so hard for him when Corin says, like, you have to do whatever they ask, even if they're like, cut your what's the word? Cut your cloak to ribbons, swear it on your father's grave. And he's like, you have to do this. John's like, I don't want to have to do that. And John's not looking for a way out. On 9:47, I do not want to play the Oathbreaker, even for good reason.
But do you think any of that is fear of living up to this idea of being the like bastard people used to tell him that he was?
What do you mean?
Like he was always told like, oh, Like or like when the whole thing with Ned came out, it was like, you're a traitor's son, you're a bastard, you've got the traitor's blood in you. All that, like he was made fun of for that by the shitty other Night's Watchmen back on the wall. And I just wonder if there's any part of this that he's like, if I do this, I'm going to appear to be everything that they said I was.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. He's
Yeah.
afraid of that.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think
He's afraid of that being. He's not afraid of that being true. Okay.
He's afraid that people will think it's true, even when
And
he
not
knows in his
never
heart of hearts
believe
that
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not living up to
And
the vision of the
kinda
Night's
what
Watch
happens.
from
Yeah,
Benjamin
and
Stark because he's thinking about. I think Corran is transforming for him the vision of what the Night's Watch mission can be, and it includes this kind of action.
For Corran, let's look at the Night's Watch oath, and we'll look at what the most important part
Should
of
we
that.
recite it? Who here hasn't recited the Night's
We've
Watch
all
Oath?
said the Night's
We're
Watch
all
oath.
brothers.
I mean, I wasn't here that day.
I thought we made up for it.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
No,
sure.
I think you refused to do it.
I think the most important part is the shield that guards the realms of men. I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch for this night and all the nights to come. Like the wear no crowns, win no glory, live and die. Like the live and die my post and the shield that guards the realms of men are like the most important part. Like because Corran knows what's up. Like there are bigger issues than. And then
Corran is such a good character to mentor John.
Corran
the
is
best.
great.
And then that fight.
Yeah, where he's not pulling any punches. He's just confident that John will be able to handle it because he knows that like the wildlings will know if he's just like pretend fighting.
And it's Ghost who makes the deciding factor again.
Yeah.
I love so much that Corran like presses so hard. And
Yeah.
he needs it to be real.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that Ghost would be the deciding factor because on 950 he's like, keep your wolf in hand.
Yep.
Like,
Oh yeah.
And he also says again, is your sword sharp?
where's that one?
That's at the top of 950.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Because he knows he needs a sharp sword to make
To
the
kill
wall
Corran
faster,
half-hand. Yeah.
Yeah. Please don't slit my throat with a dull sword.
Yeah.
Please.
And it's also on that page, just a kind note that Corran is not all cold and hardness and discipline. He says, we'll feed the horses. They've served us bravely. poor
Everyone
beasts."
loves their horses.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone just thinks of horses as like poor, loyal creatures who don't deserve bad
I mean,
things.
they don't deserve bad things.
Yeah.
On their way to that fight, I wanted to see what you guys thought of a dream that John has. He sleeps, and he dreamed of burning castles and dead men rising unquiet from their graves.
What page is this on, Joel?
949.
Okay.
I thought this could be White's, the dead men rising, but also burning castles,
Probably
dead men
Winterfell.
rising. Yeah, it could be Bran rising from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah.
Sure.
Coming out of the crypts.
Coming out
Yeah,
of
because
crypts.
it's right before we get that reveal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that. Yeah, this book has a lot of like, what happened to Bran? Here, this is what happened. to
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say his last word, Corran's last
Yeah.
word, sharp.
Wait.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
He kept his sword sharp, is what I imagine the
I
beginning of that sentence was. What's up?
I imagine him like speaking to John and being like,
Like
"Your
one last
watch-
time.
keep your watch.
Be sharp.
Oh, sure.
I thought
I mean, it
That
has
makes
a
more
lot of
sense. That
meanings.
makes more sense.
I think it's a lot of things. It's you did as you were told, but keep doing as you're told.
He also
Yeah.
lifts his main finger, so maybe it was like the sword that cut these fingers off was pretty.
Yeah, that's exactly what he means. Yep.
He's never been cut by a Valyrian steel sword before. He's like, ooh, that is sharp.
I like at the bottom of 952 when Rattleshirt says, "The black crow's a tricksy bird. I trust him not." It's like, yeah, that's wise. You probably should not trust him.
Yeah.
Yep, but then
You're
democracy.
I like the like begrudging respect between Rattleshirt and Corran.
Yeah.
Where Rattleshirt Corran called down icy polite.
Yeah.
Because they both know the
Damn.
other person is like pretty formidable.
And when John sees the others outvote the Lord of Bones, he's like, "Oh, these are free folk indeed."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah,
that's
with
maybe
democracy.
him starting to think like, Oh,
there's other ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like to when they're like, John's a warg.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody's like,
Yep.
yeah. So.
Now, how did Egret
Yeah,
know that?
so am I, man.
How
What?
would Egret have known that?
I don't know that she necessarily knows yet, but she's like, I don't care. Like,
Rattleshirt's the one who calls him a warg, and I think
Yeah.
he's saying that because Ghost bit.
yeah.
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 And
And
Egret's like,
Rattleshirt maybe
maybe
doesn't know
he
the
is,
loyalty
but
of dogs.
Yeah.
obviously we ran with a warg before. We still got his owl or eagle here.
Yeah,
Like,
the
we're not
warg
scared.
who is like an animorph, or I don't know, like trapped in that
Yes,
body.
he died.
Yeah, he died.
His body died, but he's still in the
Yeah,
eagle.
Yeah.
like-
That's
like-
crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Keep
Toby and
that in mind.
Animorphs.
Yeah, keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
In the hawk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Literally exactly like
For
a
the
lot of
animorph
animorphs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mance is
Duncan Egg is.
Mance is marching down the milk water to the wall,
Yep.
and one more chapter.
Let's do it.
Hang on, hang on.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have to admit that the show
Bran
versus
7.
book, the wildling foray that John takes was actually a bit boring to me because I knew, at least there, that he was just going to be looking for his opportunity to return. There was less of a mission and like a gravity to that mission. At least I remember that Corrin emphasized in the show, and now I'm more invested because he gives him a specific mission of watch, look, see what they're doing. And in the show,
John's-
it's sort of just like survive.
John's stuff in Storm is really incredible.
It's great.
Wait, you're saying you like the book more than the show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
show
It's
just felt
not
like,
even close.
like,
No.
oh, John's gonna go back to the watch. He's just waiting for his opportunity. Maybe he likes
Yeah.
Egret. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
It's
I get that.
It's incredible in
It's-
Storm.
It's so much better. I think seasons 2 and 3 are the best seasons of the show, but my biggest complaint is that they mess up John's storyline, and it's still good. Like, what, 305 or whatever, Kissed by Fire is like one of the best episodes of the show, but like, it's still they fumble on the 1 yard line, and it's so frustrating.
Sports. Bran?
Let's do
Yes.
it. Bran
Bran
7.
7.
What? Bran's alive.
Hey guys, Bran's kicking. Well, it starts with summer actually.
Yeah. Can I?
They
can
always
I
start
throw
with
something
summer.
out? You guys, I'm sure, are immersed in
Hey,
it.
if you believe Bran was dead, I have a bridge over the Skirling Pass to sell you.
Ah, so many dad
Where
jokes.
Stone Shirt is, apparently.
Stone shirt.
Oh,
Stone,
he's
Stone Snake, I'm sorry.
Stone Snake.
As far as we know, he's still alive.
He's probably dead.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we
By
should get
Shadow
summary first.
Go ahead.
Oh sure. So in Bran 7, Bran is in summer, looking around, seeing what's happening. He sees a burning and smoking Winterfell. He's pulled back into his own body by Jojen, who really wants him to stay in his body. And they go up top, see what's going on. They see Winterfell pretty dang burned. They find that Theon's men are also dead, curiously. And then they come upon Maester Luwin.
In the
Sad
Godswood.
scene.
Oh.
Made me cry. And then they decide they're going to part ways to keep the brothers apart. And Bran goes with Mira and Jojen north, and Rickon is going to go somewhere with Osha. And wait, Hodor goes with Bran.
Yes, because
Yes.
he has to carry Bran.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Osha and Rickon go somewhere.
Yep.
Yep.
So what's going on the first page of this chapter? Now, I thought it was just smoke, but it's a little weird. The smoke and ash clouded his eyes, and in the sky he saw a great winged snake whose roar was a river of flame. He bared his teeth, but then the snake was gone.
Yeah. We got a dragon in his vision.
What?
Oh,
Being s-
snap.
Being scared off by a wolf.
Oh, snap.
Mm-hmm.
Why
I
is
did
there
not
a
notice that.
dragon above a burning Winterfell?
I don't know, Joel. Why is there a dragon
I don't know, man.
above a burning Winterfell?
I don't know.
I am not convinced that any of us know just yet.
Yeah.
George.
You
I
guys-
can't
you
tell if
guys
this is
don't
a
know?
real thing or a vision, but he's in summer, so I trust his sight.
Well, you shouldn't necessarily trust his
I
sight.
assume this is a vision.
Yeah,
a
I think it's a
dream of some
vision.
sort. I don't think there's a literal winged snake, like contemporary
I
to
don't
them
know,
being
guys.
in the crypts.
I feel like summer, when he's in summer, his descriptions are so attuned to smell and sight that he's all experience. I don't think Summer's going to be thinking or dreaming in metaphor just now.
No. What?
But this
you think there's
isn't-
actually a dragon?
I think
over
there's a legit.
Winterfell?
I think there is
This
a legit
isn't-
creature. Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's not.
I disagree, but
It's
I
it's
like
the
it. I like that you
it's
think
the
that.
wolf seeing things.
I think it's the creature, or it's like smoke, or it's just fire and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's probably just smoke.
It's just yeah.
Maybe it's a
It's
cloud
just the
in
wolf.
the shape of a dragon.
Just a wisp of cloud.
What was that?
That was Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's wolf. I'm
He's
wolf. I will not go. And then they're like, dude, wake up.
So apparently he's been a wolf for 3 days. He's been just sleeping and being Summer for 3 days. That's crazy, man.
And it's terrifying when he's being pulled out of it because he does not want to go. He's feeling darkness all around him. Like the
Oh,
wolf
man.
of him is
That,
terrifying.
that description, all was black and still and black and cold and black and dead and black. Like
Oh, where's that?
Right.
on 958 at the top of the page,
Oh,
right
okay.
before Bran wakes up.
Yeah.
That's very similar to a John
That's
line. Yeah.
intense repetition.
Closed his third eye and opened the other two, the old two, the blind two. Blind because, they're chilling down there in the dark. And then his tongue felt strange and thick in his mouth. One day when I come back, I won't know how to talk anymore. So he feels the effects of prolonged wolf dreams on his ability to, be a normal human being. And this is interesting after we just found out that one guy is stuck in an eagle, So we can assume that the same kind of rules apply and that guy is just becoming more and more eagle, less and less man.
Also, he's probably dehydrated as heck because he's been in a wolf dream for 3 days and not drinking, not eating. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean they've been trying to drip some
the-
honey
the
down his
physiological
mouth.
reaction to not intaking any sort of sustenance for 3 days.
Yeah.
During,
Go ahead.
as I say, during that time, he once thought that he touched Ghost and talked to John, which
Yeah.
goes against what we thought in the last John chapter, the one in which he was in Ghost, because
Wait.
we thought at that point that it was time travel. But on 766, when Bran talks to him, it could be conceivable that this is present Bran, but it's strange to me.
Where's the-
But we saw
Where are
that.
you talking about this in the current Bran chapter? What page is that on?
959.
Yeah.
But on 766, it's John talking to a tree or thinking he hears it. But is Ghost there as well? Is he maybe?
So he is in Ghost.
John is.
Yes, he is in Ghost, and then
Oh.
Ghost sees a
Stuff.
weirwood with his brother's face.
What?
I think this has happened. I think this happens in Storm.
I haven't been paying attention. I've been arguing with Javier.
Oh,
Well, hang on. So in that chapter, John was in Ghost, and then Ghost saw a werewood with his brother's face, and it transitioned from brothers being wolves to brothers being Bran.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bran talks about, I like the dark, no one can see you, but you can see them. He does say not before the crow. In that chapter, when we talked about it, we thought that that must have meant when he's being trained by the crow, so there's time travel, but it could be that it just represents the crow that came to him in the dreams. But here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
He barely remembers it, and he thinks he only dreamed it. And when he was talking to John back in that John chapter, he seemed more knowledgeable and authoritative. I wonder if he's maybe more potently using his powers when he's in that state, when he has 3 eyes than when he has 2, because it seems like a different Bran who's waking up and not having a sure sense of what he just did for John.
Caitlin, what you said that you think?
This might be time travel shenanigans stuff that happens in Storm.
But
I don't
what about
remember
this then?
exactly. No, like I mean, this scene of him touching Ghost and talking to John might be related to something that happens in Storm that I'm remembering, but I could be misremembering exactly how it happens.
So there are 2 different
I mean,
moments.
if Bran does time travel shenanigans, like this could be anything.
Yeah, but I'm wondering because we had Bran talking to him through, like, he touched Ghost then. It's curious that we mentioned now if there are 2 different incidents, but it's hard to pin down what it could be.
Where are we?
959 up here.
We're right before OSHA says she pissed on a king's foot. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. It's hard to say that we know one way or the other, especially now that we know that time travel is kind of a factor here.
Yeah. I like the descriptions of being in the crypts. the dark place where all men are blind, the dark hall of the dead where the living fear to tread. Those are
That they give him
great
courage too.
descriptions.
He likes being down there. He feels good being down there.
yeah.
And then they, because of his dream, they venture out, and everything's fucked.
Is this where they take the king's swords from
Yes.
the?
Bran takes Brandon's. Osha takes Ned's. And
Ned's?
is it? I thought she did.
Um,
I might be wrong.
Let's see. Yeah, a naked sword hung down her back, one of the last to bear Micken's mark. He had forged it for Lord Eddard's tomb to keep his ghost at rest.
Mm-hmm.
So Osha takes Ned's, Mir takes Rickard's, Brandon takes Bran's. But, like, he knew he would not be much use in a fight. The blade felt good, but it was only a game, and he knew it. That's
That's sad.
so sad, because that's what he
Sad.
wanted, and, like, could have had.
And I like how they get out there and they see everything's all messed up. He sees the bricks fallen. They fell just where I did. And that some of the gargoyles had broken into so many pieces and made him wonder how he was alive at all. I like how up close they're seeing all this destruction and how everything's messed up. And I like how in the end of the chapter when they're leaving, from afar it looks fine. And it reminds him that, no, Winterfell's still there. It might be broken, but it's not dead.
I like on 962 when Rickon just says, "I want to go home," and I'm thinking of Sansa talking to Cersei and saying, "I want to go home." Like, the Starks just want to be home.
Yeah.
They don't want any part of this garbage.
And the way Bran talks about the crypts on 962, they were part of his home and who he was. He had always known that one day he would lie here too. Like, he was never afraid of them. But now he was not so certain. If I go up, will I ever come back down? Where will I go when I die? As a piece of foreshadowing, if that is scary for Bran, because Winterfell is who he is and is a constant in his life. And if he goes off on this path, it could mean just disconnection from family, from identity.
Yeah, and I know that's really good following the description of Ned's tomb, where it, like, was waiting for him, but he's not there, right?
No,
Correct.
the bones were supposed to be taken by the Silent Sisters. I'm not sure where the bones
But,
are
like,
now.
they're not
We
there
are not
now.
sure
We
where
never
they are.
found out that if they got there.
Yeah.
They're not there yet.
What if we just get, like, skeletal White Walker Ned?
Oh, and Lewin. They find Lewin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just been reading Lewin again. Like,
Wait, okay, I want to ask a question. At the bottom of 964, when Jojen says, "We should go, so much death will bring other wolves besides Summer and Shaggy, and not all on 4 feet."
That's Jojen being Jojen. He's just
But
talking
what is-
about guys.
But who's going to come? Like, what wolf on 2 feet is going to come and put them in danger?
I don't think he
He's not
means
talking about
Starks.
He's talking about it's. I think
Like
it's clumsy
North-
writing and it
Northerners?
shouldn't have been included.
Okay.
Because every other time wolves are referred to like humans, it's Starks. But here I think Jojen's just being like scavengers or like.
Yeah, he's just
dangerous
like,
men.
yeah, like people who
Yeah.
wish us ill.
Yeah, which is weird.
I know I speak in prophecy a lot, guys. That was just a clumsy metaphor. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Show out. Jojen. Maybe pick your words a little more carefully.
Yeah.
I like the description of power in living wood, a power as strong as fire on 966 when they're
Yeah,
going to the
Godswood.
Yeah, that stops
That's
the
a really
flames.
great.
Like, that's true, and that also, like, gives strength to other Starks periodically through the books.
There's so much happens at the pool at the Heart Tree.
Yeah.
You know, like it's such an intense place. I'm sure that there will be more to happen in that location. Something else important to come. I don't know.
Oh, it's so sad. At the bottom
so
of
sad.
966 onto the top of 967.
Oh, that
when a
line.
man was hurt, you took him to the maester, but what could you do when your maester was hurt?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
real
what
sad.
really got me.
Yeah.
And when you need to Hodor, you get Hodor. But who do you Hodor when Hodor's Hodor?
All right, James. Way to take a great moment and ruin it.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Maester Lewin, he didn't believe in magic. He couldn't counsel Bran in that sense, but he deeply cared for him.
yeah.
And he's been a constant we've had for the Starks up to now, and everything's just getting
So
broken
many
apart.
people are getting killed.
I like too when he tells Bran that he must be strong, and I think about other Starks who have had the repetition of I must be strong. I must be strong as Robb. I must be strong as my lady mother. Like, now you have to be strong, Bran.
And I love that like Bran has been so concerned, as you know, as a kid, he's been so concerned about his physical strength and whether or not he'll be able to physically do certain things. And here, I think, when Lewin says you must be strong now, strong, and Bran says I will be, though it was hard. I think he's understanding now what kind of strength that is.
Yeah.
So, and for Lewin to say you're your father's son, I think what he means here is that Bran isn't Brandon or Rickard Stark. He has the same kind of sensibility as Ned, you know, and I think that that's something Lewin always recognized, trying to get him to maybe consider being a maester. You know, like there's a cautiousness and an intellectualism to Bran, even though he hasn't really figured that out yet.
And knowing that like Bran is a little bit stoic maybe, and will have the sort of northern strength that we get from Ned moving forward as things happen.
Sure.
And that's why adult Bran sounds like Ned when he talks.
Yeah, confirmed.
And he seems to be a little bit at peace. The most at peace he's been all the last two books.
Bran?
Yeah, just even for a moment when he thinks that, you know, I'm not broken.
Yeah.
And he's not dead.
No,
either.
I'm not dead. I'm just a little bit broken.
Yeah.
And that Winterfell maybe can rise again.
Any other
Roots of
notes,
the
guys?
trees
or-
go deep.
I was sad for the books because they said that Maester Lewin's tower had burned.
Oh God, the like priceless
the
library.
priceless books that Tyrion was like,
Don't
take
tell
good
me.
care of these.
Oh, that's
I
sad.
know.
That's real sad. All right, guys.
It surely was a clash of kings.
How many are any of the what kings are still alive at the end of this book?
Balon,
All of them?
All
that-
but-
Robb,
except-
everybody
All of-
except for
yes,
Renly.
All of them. All five, guys. All five are alive.
Yeah, Renly came back during
Yep.
Blackwater.
Yeah. So
Really
as far as
good.
we know,
I'm looking forward to reading all about Renly and his point of view chapters next book.
Type in next week's or 2 weeks assignment, but
Do
you
we
can
want
get
to
his.
see if anybody's got questions for the
Quickly.
Yeah, but
question.
We're gonna put up, so next week, or for our next meeting, which will be in 2 weeks,
Ooh.
read from the prologue on page 1 to the end of what was this? John 1 on page 104. We're gonna get a lot of fun stuff, including the very first chapter after the prologue, Jamie 1.
yes.
Yeah. So
Jamie
this will be
chapters
real
are
exciting.
sweet.
I'm so
I think we
happy
check in with
that we're getting Jamie.
most people. Davos, Sansa,
Yeah.
Tyrion. I think.
Oh,
Catelyn.
Storm is so good.
Yeah, this will be a good one. I'm starving. So, does anyone have any questions?
They did burn the library before with the council.
Why was Quarren so in touch with the real deal while Castle Black doesn't get
Because
it?
he was out in the shit.
Yeah, Shadow Tower guys, they see the shit, man.
You know, Ben Stark knew too.
And yeah, all the Rangers from
All the-
Castle Black who go out just like died before they were able to relay
Yeah.
the message.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys,
Whoa.
for joining us. Sorry about all the technical difficulties today. That was definitely a
Yeah,
YouTube
we do
issue.
not know what is up with this. Hopefully,
bummer.
you can catch up with it later if you haven't been able to watch it.
Make sure you go
Oh, I
ahead.
was gonna say thanks to everyone for joining us for this book.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
make sure you thumbs up the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Tell other people. Storm is often thought of as the best book in this series. So
Yeah.
Storm is my favorite of the books so far.
Yeah, so tell other people to jump in.
Yeah, if
Obviously,
people
read the first two.
Yeah,
but
you have 2 weeks to read the first 2 books.
get on it.
Or just start with Storm. You guys know what happens in
Don't
the first
do
two.
that.
Just do
Don't do that.
Oh, guys, do you hear that? I think it's some thunder. I think there's a storm coming.
I made that
Storms
joke.
are
I made
brewing.
that joke in the description.
That was yesterday. It rained yesterday. If you enjoy this video, you could go to patreon.com/practicalfolks and pledge a financial amount to contribute to the needs and deeds of this channel.
Ooh, nice.
Good deeds.
You're welcome. It really helps with things like technical issues.
Yeah, we'd
In our
This
control.
isn't our fault.
we'd like to get some new microphones.
And if you do $5 or more, you will get a first look at Power Hour, which premieres this week. Wide release on Wednesday, but if you do $5 or more, you'll get it either tonight or tomorrow morning.
And then when you do see Power Hour, be sure to
Yeah.
tweet me at Going Postal
Yeah.
how much you love Sansa Stark.
Yeah, Caitlin's very, very funny in this one. It's a good one. I'm really excited for the series. So
It's great.
if you like
But-
Game of Thrones and you like laughter,
Yeah. What else do you guys have? Nothing.
that's it. I
That's
think we're
it.
done.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
2
when we
weeks.
crack
We're off
open
next week.
the Storm of Swords. Until then, I'm James.
I'm James.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Joel.
And this has been second book, 2 books. out
Let
of
me
5.
finish the yawn before we cut.
We did it.
Bye.
We did it.